Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
How come I'm the host? Maybe from yesterday. Good morning, Rabbi Sid. Good morning, Jen. Uh, uh, I was gabaying also yesterday, so do you want to be the host, Rabbi Sid, or it's okay that I'm the host? I cannot hear you. You have uh, your boss muted. Can you unmute yourself? Good morning, Rachel.
You're right. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Jen. I want to try one thing though. If you can make me a co-host,
Yes,
Jen,
yes, yes, yes. I will. I will.
because I'm going to do a share screen as part of my Devar Torah,
Okay.
and I want to practice.
Okay. When Rachel comes, sometimes Rachel wants to be Rachel. You want to be the host or co-host?
I can be co-host or host, whatever you want. I have a couple of things that I'm going to screen share at the beginning as part of our tefillot.
But screen share you can do as a co-host. Am I right?
Yeah.
Jamie. Good morning, Amy. You are muted. Can you unmute yourself?
I know. Give me a moment, Hannah.
Hi, Amy.
I know.
Hi,
I'm
Sid.
sorry. I'm impatient, and I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to sound impatient even. I'm sorry. I just sounded, but I didn't.
Amy, could you make me a co-host? I want to try something before we start. I need to have it.
I can't. Hannah, you're the host. You're the one who can make anyone a co-host.
Yes. I made you co-host. Who else wants to be
Sid.
co-host?
Okay, Sid's a
I made
co-host.
Sid. What about you?
I'm a co-host because I signed in as a Dot Shalom info.
Oh, okay. You know what happened was because I was a Zoom by yesterday when I pushed on the link, I came as a host. I guess it remembered that I was a host yesterday.
It's whoever gets in first becomes the host.
Rachel, do you see what I'm doing now? Is that on screen?
Yes. I see it, Sid.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Amy, do you want to be the host?
I can be the host if you want, unless host does breakout rooms. Do you want to do breakout rooms or not?
Yeah, I do, because I've never done it before and I want to do it. And I think I just pushed them. Then I will be, how do you say, certified Zoom Gabbai, no? So I just saw that Sahar gave birth to a baby. Am I right?
Yes.
And what does she have, a boy or a girl?
Don't know.
Who gave birth?
Sahar.
Sahar, the shlicha.
Oh, Sahar. Oh.
Yes.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah. Who is this?
We're not letting anybody in just yet. It's too early.
That's what I thought. I was just looking. That's what I was doing. Okay.
Rachel, can I ask you a question? After my Torah, the aliyot, do I announce those?
We have no assigned aliyot this morning, which is a first.
So how is that going to work?
So we have to try to solicit them. And I was going to ask Hannah and Amy if you could help us to be ushers in that sense, as we gather.
Sure.
If you see, I mean, it's just wide open. We just have 3 aliyot that are wide open.
3 of them, okay.
I had asked them.
You want us to do like you did when we were in Adat Shalom the first time, the people that came first, you ask them, do you want to do Aliyah?
Rachel, wouldn't it be nice to give whichever shlichim are with us the first Aliyah together, just to recognize it?
I asked the Israel Connection people who organized all of it, and I said we'd love to give all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And they said we're just not sure if they're going to be on.
They'll be on at that time.
Here at that time.
Well, Amy, why don't you just monitor if you see them coming in? I think that would be the idea. Let's hold the first one for, even if it's only, actually, I got an email from,
What about
but
Beth?
so
Should
so
I
that
let her?
was,
Eris?
Idan.
Idan, thank you. Idan said he'd be part of the service. So I know
Okay.
at very minimum, Idan will be there. So let's give Idan the first aliyah. And if Sahar, and who's the other one?
So,
Ayala.
Erez.
yeah, Erez and Ayelet. And my
Ayelet.
understanding is Erez is definitely going to be here this morning, today. But Ayelet, they couldn't get confirmation from her, so maybe.
Oh,
And
okay.
Sahar just gave birth, so.
Right. Hey, Beth. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Beth.
Do we have what?
I'm right here listening. I just have to step off screen for a second.
Do we have 1 minute for me to try an experiment?
Sure. We got more than a minute if you need it.
Good morning, Beth.
Good morning. How
Shabbat
are you? Shabbat shalom. Rachel asked me to do this Yehilu L'Ratzon, so I was going to try it and see if I could sing harmony with myself.
Sure. You
Um,
have enough time. It's only 9:48.
Are you going to pull a Mika Hendler?
not exactly. I don't think, I'm not at that level of technological competence, but we're going to try this, and you'll tell me if you can hear both me and the recording. So first of all, can you hear the recording?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna do a little harmony to myself. So so can you hear me, guitar and
Yes.
Great,
Yes, it sounds
great.
lovely.
We can, except I'm
Wonderful.
super jealous.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'd rather sing with you, Jen and Rachel, and whoever else would rather sing. I'd rather sing together, but if we can't sing together, I was very excited.
No, it's great.
if I could
It's
make
great.
harmony.
It's beautiful, beautiful.
Okay,
beautiful,
fabulous. Thank you.
Mika
Thank
Hendler,
you.
watch
Because you are
out.
the harvesters of your effort.
Sounds great.
When I see like a beautiful kid and I tell them you are gorgeous, they said thank you. I said no, I have to thank you because I look at you.
And Beth, I want to thank you for last night. Last night was lovely.
Oh, thank
Absolutely
you.
lovely.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you. I
Very inspiring.
loved being there last night. It was
And in general, it's a good time to tell you and Sid and also Fred that is not here that you're doing a fabulous just job. It's not even the right word in this time of Corona. It's so cementing and so spiritual and so meaningful. It's very, very wonderful, really.
All right, it's
Thanks,
not
Jen.
it's not a job. It is the avodah.
You're right, and I said the job is not the right word, and I didn't know what to
Avodah is
say.
the right word.
Yes, you're right. Thank you, Toda Rabba. And I think I know what is avodah.
Avodah Kodesh.
Yeah,
Thank
it is.
you, Hannah and Amy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
my pleasure.
Wait a minute, Beth, do you want to be a co-host?
She should be a co-host.
Yeah, if she's gonna screen share, she needs to.
I wasn't actually planning to screen share because
Oh, you're not, but no, you have to,
She's voice sharing.
but Beth, don't you want to be able to, if you.
I know exactly what you mean, Rachel, what we talked about the other day, but when you do that, you can't hear the harmony that I'm singing over the recording. That was the issue that we had with you when you were playing we couldn't
That's
hear.
fine, but you have the freedom. You are a co-host now.
Okay,
So
great. I
You're
can.
not dependent on me.
Well, I'm grateful to be dependent. I was grateful to be dependent on you last night.
Yeah, I'm becoming a good Zoom guy.
You are a terrific Zoom gabai, and I was very grateful to have you on my team.
I was a guy before. Now I added the Zoom.
So I want to make sure as we move towards 10 o'clock, will you guys count men in a minyan?
Count men? No, we're just counting people.
Just want to make sure that I count. I don't know. The world is flipped in many ways.
And we actually, including those in the waiting room, we have a minion, so
Yeah,
We're
but
good.
also,
Should
you
let
know
people-
what, Rachel, you know what it reminds me? Wasn't it one of your kids that saw a man, rabbi or cantor, and they said, oh, I didn't know that men can be also cantors.
Oh,
Was
no, it
yours?
wasn't my kids, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, friends. Let's
Well-
tune in.
We can let them in now?
I think we should and start. with
okay,
people.
Okay. We will.
here they come.
Here they come. Hello, everybody. I'm going to shut myself off because shut myself up or off. What is the right preposition?
Hannah, you may want to mute.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to those who are joining us this morning. Encourage us all to just take a look at who's here. Say hello. Shabbat Shalom. Here we are. Welcome to those who are joining us. Very glad to have you to be all together this morning to continue our journey through this strange time together. Just sharing some simple melodies as we gather ourselves, a time to lay your talit on your shoulders, tune your consciousness to community, to prayer, to gratitude. This is the main headline for Shabbat every week. Shabbat Shalom. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. This is like a little bit of schmooze time in the foyer. Before we begin our formal prayers, just want to say again, welcome to those who are just tuning in. Just a time to greet each other. Gratitude to our marvelous Gabayim, Chana and Amy, helping us welcome people in. כי עמך מקור חיים, כי עמך מקור חיים, כי עמך מקור חיים, באורך נראה אור. For with you is the source of life. For with you is the source of life. For with you is the source of life. In your light we see light. Once again, Shabbat Shalom. I have to turn on my gallery view so I can really see the faces that go with all the names that are here. Wonderful to be with all of you. Let's tune in and begin together in your Siddur, page 141. Feel for ourselves like we've gathered under a big tent together, virtual though it may be. And let's continue now with the morning blessings. Beginning on page 151, the reminder to turn to each other with love as we begin our prayers. It's a custom to rise in our bodies, in our spirits, whatever way is easy to do, and stand tall. L'shem yichud kudsha b'richu shchintei, ani mukhan u'mezuman lekabel alai mitzvat aseh shel. Join me, please. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, u'bizchut zeh eftach pi. Next page. Blessed are you, awakener our God, life of all the So someone else muted me there. I'm gonna just unmute myself. Continuing page 155, 154 and 5. Blessed are you, the provident our God, life of all the worlds, who gives the bird of dawn discernment to tell day from night. Blessed are you, the fashioner, our God, life of all the worlds, who stretches forth the earth upon the waters. 157, Baruch atah, Adonai Eloheinu, cheolamim pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah, Adonai Eloheinu, cheolamim malbish arumim. Baruch atah, Adonai Eloheinu, cheolamim matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, cheolamim zokef kefufim. 158. Blessed are you, the way our God, life of all the worlds, who makes firm a person's steps. Blessed are you, the generous our God, life of all the worlds, who acts for all my needs. Blessed are you, the mighty one our God, life of all the worlds, who girds Israel with strength. Blessed are you, the beautiful our God, life of all the worlds, who crowns Israel with splendor. 161. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, cheolamim she'asani b'tzalmo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, cheolamim she'asani bat chorim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, cheolamim she'asani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, cheolamim hanoten laya'ef koach. If you're standing, just to take a deep breath in this upright position and keep the height in your spirit as you take your seat. Continue to lift ourselves up to our tradition, to one another. Join me, page 165. Elohai neshama shenatata bi tehorahi. 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 Ata v'ratata yitzarta nefachta bi. Baruch atah Adonai, asher beyado nefesh kol chai, veruach kol basar. Want to begin now here, this English version that corresponds to our Siddur, Baruch She'amar. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. Bruchahi u'Baruch Shema. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. Bruchahi u'Baruch Shema. Blessed is the one whose speech is the world. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. Blessed is the one forever creating. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. Blessed is the one speaking and acting. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. Blessed is the one separating and sustaining. Baruch Hu, Baruch Shemo. Blessed is the one whose love fills the earth. Bruchahi u'Baruch Shema. Blessed is the one whose compassion gives life. Bruchahi u'Baruch Shema. Blessed is the one who brings us full circle. Bruchahi u'Baruch Shema. Blessed is the one living יהי וברוך שמה. יחיד חי העולמים, מלך משובח ומפואר עד שמו הגדול. ברוך אתה הוויה, מלך מהולל בתשבחות אמצע. אמן. Psalms to share together. Sorry, folks, bear with me just 1 second. A sampling of verses from our psalmist right here on our screen, and each one punctuated with the word hallelujah. Esaina el harim, me'ain yavo Ezri, Ezri me'im Adonai, Ose shamayim va'aretz. Do again. Esaina el harim, me'ain yavo Ezri, Ezri me'im Adonai, Ose shamayim va'aretz. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Samachti be'omrim li, beit Adonai nelech, umdot hayu ragleinu, Sha'arayich Yerushalayim. Samachti be'omrim li, beit Adonai nelech, omdot hayu ragleinu, Sha'arayich Yerushalayim. Hallelujah. Kol hanshama tehallel, hallelujah. Kol hanshama tehallel, hallelujah. Turn to you, Rabbi Sid.
Thank you, Rachel. I invite you to rise for the Baruch Hu, page 247. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Let's read together the bracha in Hebrew and English. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or u'vorech choshech, v'aseh shalom u'vorech et hakol. Blessed are you, eternal one, our God, the sovereign of all worlds, who fashions light and creates darkness, maker of peace and creator of all. may be seated. I want to do a little kavanah before we sing El Adon together. You know, when I grew up, I had this notion, not uncommon for young people as they come into their early maturity, like I'm talking early teens, that there was a big conflict between religion and science. And in our home, we had a big picture, the very famous picture of Albert Einstein that you've seen so often. We had to get that framed on our wall in our house. And for our family, growing up in the 60s, Albert Einstein, of course, was the paragon of scientific genius. And it didn't hurt that he was also a member of the tribe. So to my notion was, you know, although I wasn't into science that much, it felt like science represented enlightenment, and I wasn't sure religion was totally there. And it's not uncommon for people to juxtapose religion, which is all superstition, and science, which is really kind of evidence-based. As I got older, it became clear to me, it's somewhat surprising, that it's actually within the scientific community that you have some people who have the most deep appreciation for some part of the universe that cannot be explained. And whether you choose to call that God or cosmos or the unknowable, it's actually science doesn't contradict religion, but actually complements it. Now, not everyone gets there eventually, but I think that's part of a more mature notion about how the world works. And so I always loved the selection, the back of the prayer book on page 761, if you have the book with you, a selection from Albert Einstein, which I think is a great introduction to the El Adon, which is a prayer in the Shabbat liturgy, which actually says that all aspects of nature are screaming out to us, pay attention, there's something beyond you that's making this whole thing called the universe or the cosmos work. And I think this reading from Einstein suggests exactly that. The essence of the Jewish conception of life, it's 761 if I didn't say that. The essence of the Jewish conception of life seems to me to lie in an affirmative attitude to the life of all creation. The life of the individual has meaning only insofar as it aids in making the life of every living thing nobler and more beautiful. Life is sacred. That is to say, it is the supreme value to which all other values are subordinate. The hallowing of the supra-individual life brings in its train a reverence for everything spiritual, a particularly characteristic feature of the Jewish tradition. But the Jewish tradition also contains something else, something which finds splendid expression in many of the Psalms, namely a sort of intoxicated joy and amazement at the beauty and grandeur of this world, of which humankind can just form a faint notion. It is the feeling from which true scientific research draws its spiritual substance, but which also seems to find expression in leafy trees and the crash of waves. If you turn back to page 253, I invite you to join in El Adon. El Adon al kol ha'ma'asim baruch umvorach v'fi kol nishama gadlo v'tuvo malei olam ta'atu tvunaso v'vimoto hamikael chayot hakodesh v'nedar b'chavod al hamerkavo zechut umishor lifnei chispo chesed v'rachamim lifnei chavodo Tovim me'orot shebara Eloheinu yitzaram b'da'at b'vina u'paskel kolach u'gura natan ba'hem liot moshtim b'kerev tevel Meleim ziv umfikim noka na'ezivam b'chol ha'olam samechim b'tzeitam b'sasim b'voam osim b'yema ritzon konam Pe'er v'chavod notnim lishmo tzala v'rina zecher malchuto kara hashemesh v'yizrach hara v'hikin surat havana shevach notnim lo Kal Tzeva Maharam Tiferet Ugdula Srafim V'Yofanim Srafim V'Yofanim V'Chayot HaKodesh Yai Dai 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 Yai Dai 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 Yai Dai 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 Yai da 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 yai da da yai da 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 yai da 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 yai da 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 da.
Page 169, Or Chadash al Zion Ta'ir, ונזכחו לנו במהרה לאורו, ברוך אתה אדוני, יוצר המאורות. Turn with me to page 273. Tune in now together to that great love that we say has loved us. And we know this love through the gift of Torah. Ahava Rabba, Ahavtanu, Adonai, Eloheinu, Ahava Rabba, Ahavtanu, Adonai, Eloheinu. Chemla gedola, Avinu Malkeinu ba'avur avotenu ve'imotenu, שבטחו בך ותלמדם חוקי חיים, כן תכוננו תלמדנו. אבינו אב הרחמן, המרחם רחם עלינו. אבינו אב הרחמן, המרחם רחם עלינו. ותן בליבנו לאבינו להשכיל לשמוע, ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות, לעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך. לשמור ולעשות, לעשות ולקיים את כל דברי תלמוד תורתך באהבה, והערינו בתורתך, ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך, ויחד לבבינו לאהבה וליראה את שמך, ולא נבוש ולא נתעלם ולא ניכשל לעולם ועד, כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בטחנו, נגילה ונשמחה, נגילה ונשמחה בישועתך. והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו, כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול. סלע באמת להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, ומלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. Moment to reflect on these middle passages of the Shema on our own together. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor, Sulam tzitzit, והיה לכם לציצית וראיתם אותו, זכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם, ולא תטורו אחריהם. Bottom of 285, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. And now page 291, turning it over to Beth Sperber-Ritchie.
תהילות ליל עליון, ברכו ומבורך, משה ומרים ובני ישראל, לך ענו שירה, בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם, מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא. שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים, יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ויאמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל, ובדי חנומך יהודה וישראל. גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו, קדוש ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל. Page 295. אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי יצחק, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי יעקב, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה. האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואמות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי כל חי ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות כל חי, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי כל חי. Page 303. נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך, וכרז זה אמר, קדוש קדוש קדוש, אדוני צבאות מלוכו הארץ כבודו. אז בקור רעש גדול, אדיר וחזק משמיעים קול, מתנסים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם ברוך יאמרו, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. ממקומך מלכנו תופיע, ותמלוך עלינו כי מחכים אנחנו לך. מתי תמלוך בציון? מתי תמלוך בציון? בקרוב בימינו לעולם ועד תשכון. תתגדל ותתקדש בתוך ירושלים עירך, לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לנצח נצחים. ועינינו תראינה מלכותך, כדבר האמור בשירי עוזך. ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. We continue on our own with the words in the prayer book or the words in our heart, and we'll join back together for a prayer for peace. And as we finish up our Amidah prayer individually, we join together on page 323. Sorry.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Yehu l'ratzon imrei fi, v'hegion libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri v'goali, Adonai tzuri v'goali.
Shar Kochech, thank you so much, Beth. What a gift to be able to hear some harmony. What a relief to remind ourselves that that's still part of our human experience. Let's say together at the bottom of page 380, may the prayers and supplications of this whole house of Israel be acceptable to the Creator in heavens, and we all say Amen. May heaven grant a universal peace and life for us and for all Israel, and we say Amen. May the one who creates harmony above make peace for us, for all Israel, and for all who dwell on earth. And we say, Amen. We'll turn now to our Torah service. Today, let's bring ourselves into this moment of revelation with the words on page 393. One of the things we've had to learn, maybe a paradoxical blessing to learn, is that the experience of revelation actually resides inside of us. It's not in an ark in a beautiful building on Persimmon Tree Lane. We were longing to be together there again, but for here, for now, we have to call up that experience of revelation, of standing at Sinai every time we take out the words of the Torah for ourselves. So I invite us to hold that experience in our consciousness, to see ourselves at the foot of the mountain. And please respond to me. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Gadlu Adonai iti unero mema Shemo Yachdav.
Shabbat Shalom. It's my pleasure to be part of this morning's service and offer the Devar Torah on this morning's Parsha of Vayishlach. One word to the wise. I'm going to be doing some screen sharing, and usually the instructions for that come with a warning not to be tried by people over the age of 60. Don't try this at home, but I'm going to give it a try, and hopefully it'll work because I have a little bit of illustrations to do in the Devar Torah. Vayishlach contains the well-known story of Jacob's night of wrestling the angel in advance of his reunion with his brother Esau. They have not seen each other since Jacob stole Esau's birthright and ran away to save himself from Esau's potential revenge. The story is so pregnant with meaning. It is truly one of my favorite stories in the Bible. It's tempting to use the story today as a lesson about how two nations need to reconcile with one another. In our current American moment, the story has some lessons about what it means to live in a divided country when two factions see the world totally differently. But today I want to look at the story in a much more personal way. The Peshat, the plain meaning of the text, has us imagine that Jacob wrestled with a divine being, either an angel or God herself. As is so often the case, the literal reading of the biblical narrative is reinforced by cultural portrayals of the biblical scene. I'm going to now just share my screen and give you three images that may be familiar. This is Rembrandt's rendition of Jacob's wrestling with the angel. This is by Gustave Daria, a 19th century French artist, 19th century. Same scene, Jacob wrestling with the angel. And this is a contemporary artist, Alan Douglas Ray, Canadian, Jacob wrestling with the angel. And for many people, these are the images that we have in our minds when we think about the story. So playing off these artistic renditions of the biblical text, let's defy reconstructionist convention and start by taking the story literally. I believe that even when taking the story literally, there is much for us to learn about human nature and about ourselves. Jacob stands at a crossroads in his life. The incident takes place at a place the Bible calls Ma'avar Yabok. Most translations will say it's the fjord of the Yabok River, a tributary of the Jordan River about 30 miles north of the Dead Sea. But Yabok may be a pun on the name Yaakov, in which case Ma'avar Yabok, because Ma'avar can also mean a passageway or a transition, it might mean not the fjord of Yabok, but rather Jacob at the crossroads of his life. Jacob believes that he is destined to be the father of a great nation. This is the legacy passed down from his grandfather Abraham to his father Isaac, and now to him. Yet not unlike many individuals aspiring to greatness, Jacob wrestles with self-doubt. Am I worthy? He wonders if he is the legitimate heir to God's promise to Abraham. Perhaps Esau was the rightful heir. In the 1970s, some of you may remember that, there was a commercial that ran on TV for Chiffon margarine. How many people remember Chiffon margarine? Suggesting that the margarine tasted virtually the same as butter, the punchline was, it is not nice to fool Mother Nature. Now, Jacob's memory of how he deceived his father to get Esau's birthright likely haunted him ever since. Think, it is not nice to fool the master of the universe. With this as backdrop, Jacob's supernatural adversary, be it an angel or God, the night before his reunion with Esau, is a message to Jacob that he cannot fulfill his destiny without coming to terms with his original sin. His adversary is there to convey, you must take responsibility for the deception of your brother. You must find a way to own your subterfuge and reconcile with Esau. In this version of the story, the adversary's renaming of Jacob takes on great meaning. He goes from Yaakov, the heel, to Yisrael, the one who wrestled with God. Or, if you will allow, the one who confronted an unpleasant truth, which he must overcome in order to become the father of a great nation. Now, if we reject the literal version of the story and imagine that the struggle was a dream sequence and not actual wrestling with the divine being, and we know that Jacob is big on dreams, there is still rich insight to be gained. One possibility, not at all far-fetched, is that the night before Jacob is to have his first encounter with his older and physically stronger brother Esau, Jacob dreams that he is in a wrestling match with Esau himself. The wrestling match revisits the struggle between twin brothers that started in the womb of Rebekah. Even in utero, Jacob tried to usurp his brother's status as firstborn by grabbing his ankle so as to emerge first. And because he failed, he must trick Esau to win the coveted birthright of the firstborn. Jacob realizes that he fell into a trap that is so common to human nature. We come to believe that love is finite. We come to believe that life is a zero-sum game where a handful are winners and everyone else is a loser. Jacob's mother and father helped to perpetuate that insidious view of the world. It seems that Isaac has only one birthright blessing to confer, to the eventual horror of Esau, who comes to his father's tent too late. And Rebekah, knowing this, conspires to have Jacob arrive first, posing as his older brother. Jacob wins the birthright, but he pays a price in feelings of guilt for the rest of his life. The dream is a chance at a reboot, a reset. This time, Jacob does not try to pull his brother back as he attempted to do in the womb. Nor does he dress up like Esau to trick an aging and failing Isaac into getting the blessing of the firstborn. In the dream, there is conflict between brothers. As twins, they will compete forever for the love of their parents. They will always be compared to each other. As much as they may want to celebrate the success of the other, they will wrestle with the jealousy that their twin's success will engender. And so, in the dream, they wrestle. But they do so face to face. Genesis 32, verse 31, has Jacob say, Ki ra'iti Elohim panim el panim v'tinatzel. I have seen a divine being face to face, and I have prevailed. My more midrashic translation would be the following. I, Jacob, have confronted a hard truth about myself and about my treachery. I've done it face to face, and I'm a better person for it. The conflict between Jacob and Esau is real and it will not go away, but it can be handled with more honesty and more compassion than happened when they were immature children. Most poignantly, in the dream, with the arrival of dawn, Jacob asks his adversary, in this case Esau, to give him a blessing before he takes his leave. The blessing will not be stolen. It will be given freely by Esau, who will not begrudge his brother his aspiration to father a great nation. With age, they have known love and they have known loss, and they have matured. The next morning, Jacob will meet Esau, ready to ask forgiveness for what he did to him at their father's knee, and they will reconcile, making it possible for Jacob, now named Yisrael, to fulfill his destiny. There is yet a third version of the story that I want to offer. This too sees the story as a dream sequence, but the adversary is neither a divine being nor his brother Esau. It is Jacob's shadow self. Jacob is literally wrestling with his own demons. All of the elements from the prior two interpretations are still in play. Jacob is anxious about his reunion with his brother. He has been haunted by his youthful deception of Esau. He suffers from feelings of self-loathing. He does not want his legacy to be my dad, the trickster. Abraham and Isaac would expect better. The dream of a wrestling match is an apt metaphor. In our consciousness, we are torn between our Yetzer Hara and our Yetzer Tov, our evil inclination and our good inclination. Our evil inclination tells us, don't be a sucker. You know what it takes to get ahead. What's a small little lie in the larger scheme of things? The ends justify the means. And on our good inclination tells us, do the right thing. Goodness is its own reward. You need to be able to look yourself in the mirror and know that you have lived a life of integrity. Don't sell your soul for a bowl of porridge. This is the human condition. We all wrestle with it. And as we have come to realize of late, to our horror, goodness does not always prevail. Except for Jacob, it does. Once he confronts his own demons in his dream, he knows how he has fallen short. And he knows how he must make things right with his twin brother Esau. The text tells us that when dawn comes, Jacob has survived the night of travail. The wrestling match was not a physical one. It was a psychological one, and as such, far more significant for the person Jacob will become. This version yields yet another way to understand verse 31, Ki ra'iti Elohim panim al panim v'tinatzel. I have seen a divine being face to face and I prevailed. I would now translate it as, I, Jacob, have come to realize how strong is my Yetzer Hara, my evil inclination. If I want to be worthy of the name Yisrael, Israel, I must find a way to keep it in check. In this version, V'tinatzel is not he prevailed, but rather this is what it takes to be a spiritually mature person. The biblical text tells us that at the end of the night of wrestling, Jacob survives, but is left with a wounded hip socket. He will now forever walk with a limp. Past misdeeds are never forgotten. Past mistakes are never erased. At best, we confront them and learn from those mistakes. The scars left by those misdeeds become markers of our spiritual growth. When Jacob approaches Esau the next morning to reconcile, gone is the arrogance of his youth. His deep remorse is visible from across the field as he limps towards his twin brother. The physical wound represents Jacob's ability to own his act of deception and the possibility that his success might have been built on a lie. In a spiritually mature world, the ability to own the misdeeds of our past is a sign of moral courage and strength. The ability to repent and to ask forgiveness for our sins opens the possibility for severed relationships to be healed. We need to know this truth deep in our hearts because we live at a time when public figures weave elaborate webs of lies. And social media provides a platform that allows those lies to be taken as truth. We need to know better. Did Jacob wrestle with an angel? With Esau? With himself? Yes. All of the above. And it doesn't matter. Because in each version, he learns something about himself that allows him to be worthy of the name Yisrael, the one who wrestled with God, the one who wrestled with hard truths. The next morning, Jacob limps to meet his brother. And by showing that vulnerability, Jacob and Esau are able to embrace, repair their estrangement, and respect one another even as they take different paths in life. A morality tale for us all. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much, Sid. Yishar koach. We take that powerful lesson with us into our reading this morning. We'll be turning first to Genesis 34, verses 1 through 4. You can find it in your Plaut Chumash, in the older version, page 226, or in the newer version, page 223. We'll pick up now in the section of the parasha that tells the powerful and difficult story of the rape of Dinah. The first aliyah is, we're delighted to call forward Idan Sharon. Idan, I hope you're here. I don't see you yet, but I think you are here. Good. Okay. So Idan needs no introduction in our community, but just in case anyone's got a case of COVID amnesia, Idan was a bright light in our community for 2 years as a shaliach, and he has now returned to Israel and is here to visit with us today with his predecessors. And so Idan will ask you to have the first aliyah. And in a minute, I'll ask you to just give us your full Hebrew name, Idan, if that's okay. And the brachot are, Idan, I don't know if you have the Siddur. The brachot are in the Siddur, page 169, La'asok b'divrei Torah, Idan, for the opening bracha. Ve'yazor, ve'yagen, ve'yoshia l'chol ha'chosim bo, ve'nomar amen. הכל הבו גודל אלוהינו תנו כבוד לתורה, יעמוד עידן בן
אורנה.
לעלייה הראשונה, ברוך שנתן תורה לעמו ישראל, ואתם הדביקים באדוני אלוהיכם, חיים כולכם היום. So Idan, the opening bracha first.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לעסוק בדברי תורה.
אמן.
אמן. ותצא דינה בת לאה אשר ילדה ליעקב לראות בבנות הארץ, וירא אותה שכם בן חמור, החיבי נשיא הארץ, ויקח אותה, וישכב אותה ויעניה, ותדבק נפשו בדינה בת יעקב, ואהב את נערה, וידבר על לב הנערה. ויאמר שכם אל חמור אביו לאמור, קח לי את הילדה הזאת לאישה.
יישר כוח. And Idan, if you would give us the closing bracha.
ברוך אתה אדוני המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל.
Amen. Idan, we're going to have a chance to visit with you and with Erez and with Ayelet, we hope, and maybe, if we're lucky, a glimpse of Sahar, who has just given birth less than 24 hours ago. So she said she might, if she feels well enough. So we thank you, Idan, for being our shaliach on deck for the moment, and look forward to a much fuller update in just a little bit. Yishar koach. Second aliyah, we're delighted to call forward Orit Golan, who has worked very lovingly on bringing our shlichim together for us this morning. And the reading will be Genesis 34, verses 25 through 29. So skipping ahead now to Jacob's sons, Shimon and Levi's tragic overreaction, perhaps. I'll stop my commentary right there about their sister's experience. You can find the verses Genesis 34, 25 through 29 in the older Plaut 228, in the newer Plaut 225. Our reader is Kayla Niles, and we'll call forward Ta'amod Orit Bat
Edna Vidani.
Edna Vadani La'aliyah Hashniya. And I'll read the opening bracha, page 169 in your Siddur.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו לעסוק בדברי תורה.
Amen.
אמן.
Amen. Vayehi bayom hashlishi v'yotam koavim vayikchu shnei bnei Yaakov Shimon v'Levi achei Dinah ish charbo vayavo el ha'ir betach vayahargu kol zachar v'et chamor v'et shechem beno hargu lifnei charev vayikchu et dinah mibeit shechem vayetzeu bnei Yaakov bahu el hachalalim Vayavozu ha'ir asher timu achotam et sonam v'et bekaram v'et chamorehem v'et asher ba'ir v'et asher basadeh lakachu v'et kol chelam v'et kol tapam v'et neshehem shavu vayavozu Et kol asher ba'bayit.
ברוך אתה אדוני המלמד תורה לעמו ישראל.
Dar kochech gam Lakela and Orit with enormous thanks for all of your hard work, and I have to say very loving contribution to helping us stay connected to these wonderful people who are our friends and our teachers. Shar kochech. Pause now for a prayer for healing and turn once again to Beth Sperber-Ritchie and tune in together at a moment when our country seems to be inconceivably diving into an even more dire moment as this virus moves through our land. So send our prayers to all those who are suffering and all those who are healers at every level. To you, Beth.
And as we've taken as our custom, if you would like to put the name or names of people for whom you're saying a prayer this morning into the chat, there's an opportunity for all of us as a community to hold those names as well. Anna Elna, Anna Elna, Anna Elna Refana La, Anna Elna, Anna Elna, Anna Elna Refana Lo, Anna Elna, Anna Elna, Anna Elna Refana La, Anna Elna, Anna Elna, Anna Elna Refana La. A refuah shlema, complete and full healing for the hearts and the souls and the bodies of all in our chat and all around the country and the world struggling right now.
Amen. Thank you, Beth. Turn now to the Maftir reading, the final reading for this morning. We'll hear John Niles laning, and it's a delight to welcome Karen Fierst as the Aliyah for this reading. Karen as the chair of our Israel Connection Committee, who has worked closely with Orit for today's gathering and for many other opportunities that we have as a community to maintain and strengthen our connection with Eretz Yisrael. So Karen, again, I'll ask you to unmute and to chime in with your Hebrew name. Ta'amod.
Karen bat Avraham v'Bela.
Karen bat Avraham v'Bela maftira.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'tzotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen. And sorry, I should just jump in here. I didn't announce the page where Genesis 36 verses 40 through 43, page 237 in the older version, 232 in the newer.
Amen. Ve'ele shemot alufei Esav למשפחותם, למקומותם בשמותם. אלוף תמנע, אלוף עלווה, אלוף ייתן. אלוף, 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 ההולמה במה, אלוף אלה, אלוף פינן. אלוף כנען, אלוף תימן, אלוף מבצר, אלוף מגדיאל, אלוף עירם, אלה אלופי אדום. למושבותם בארץ אחוזתם, הוא עשיו אבי אדום.
Baruch atah Adonai hamelamed Torah la'amo Yisrael.
Amen. And yishar koach to both of you, to Karen and to John. It feels to me when we read through these last verses of Vayishlach that as if the authors / editors of our Torah were saying, let's not forget Esav and give him at least a few lines to name all of the, at least to us, complicated sounding names of his family tree and record them as part of our story. Yishar koach to all of our readers and honorees. Turning back to you, Rabbi Sid.
Thanks, Rachel. Before we close this Torah service, I want to offer a prayer for our country. Just to preface it by the comment, it feels that for the past 4 years, much of what has been said publicly are filled with what's called Jeremiads, tales of foreboding coming down the pike. I want to try and look at, without being Pollyannish, the fact of the matter is some of the fears that many of us had about a post-election coup, I think are receding now. And I think it's a time for us to also celebrate the strength of our democracy when even courts with judges appointed by Donald Trump have thrown out these court cases and the transition is now proceeding after a slow start. It's a time to celebrate our democracy and commit ourselves to work hard to strengthen all those institutions that ensure freedom, fairness, and justice. So I want to offer the prayer on page 418. If you have your Sidurim, you might open it up and follow along with me. Sovereign of the universe, mercifully receive our prayers for our land and its government. Let your blessings pour out on this land and on all officials of this country who are occupied in good faith with the public needs. Instruct them from your Torah's laws, enable them to understand your principles of justice so that peace and tranquility, happiness and freedom might never turn away from our land. Please, wise one, God of the life breath of all flesh, waken your spirit within all inhabitants of our land and plant among the peoples of different nationalities and faiths who dwell here love and brotherhood, peace and friendship. Uproot from their hearts all hatred and enmity, all jealousy and vying for supremacy. Fulfill the yearning of all people of our country to speak proudly in its honor. Fulfill their desire to see it become a light to all nations. Therefore, may it be your will that our land should be a blessing to all inhabitants of the globe. Cause to dwell among all peoples, friendship and freedom. and soon fulfill the vision of your prophet. Lo yisa goy goy charev, v'lo yimodu od milchama. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation. Let them learn no longer the ways of war, and let us say, Amen.
Amen. Amen. Let's turn together now to close our Torah service, page 441. And once again, if we're able to rise together, so returning the Torah to its place within us, to hold on to it as we move to the end of our morning together. Page 441. Ki lekach tov natati lachem torati al ta'azovu etz chaim hi lamachazikim ba v'tomcheha meushal deracheha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva chadesh chadesh yamenu chadesh yamenu kekedem. Turn back to you, Rabbi Sid.
I want to take this time to name the people who have passed away in our community midst in the past month, and also mark the yortzites of those who passed away years ago in the coming week. We
Sid,
mark the
sorry, forgive me for interrupting. I just now got the update from Rabbi Fred that Lori Persh's mother has just recently passed, and so we'll be on standby for information about Shiva and support for Lori.
Yes, I saw that in the box, in the chat box. So Laura, if you want to put it in just your mom's name, so we have her name as we mentioned here, it'd be nice to invoke that, and we're sorry for your loss. Other losses in this past month were Lenore Nat, the mother of Michael Nat, David Feldman, the father of Paul Feldman, Gerald Post, the husband of Carolyn Post, and Rita Laufer, the mother of Michael Laufer. We also marked the yortzites of the following: Gloria Diamond, the mother of Susan Diamond, Manya Goldband, the mother of Chaya Laufer, Ruth Berkman, the aunt of Adina Cole, Mary Niles, the mother of John Niles, Lillian Stein, the mother of Iris Stein Corman, Gary Warren, the brother of Anne Laurie Warren, Fiora Bronstein, the grandmother of Robert Singer, Robert Schoen, the husband of Irma Schoen, Robert Sperber, the father of Beth Sperber Ritchie, Florence Banks, the mother of Janie Banks, Franklin Feldman, the father of David Feldman, Aaron Blum, the father of Sheila Blum, Goldie Kaplan, the grandmother of Stephen Sharp, Miriam Perlstein, the mother of Sandy Perlstein, Alan Hirschberg, the husband of Putzi Hirschberg, Augusta Mildred Robinson Berger, the mother of Arthur Berger, Lenore Stern, the mother of Julie Stern, Fanny Weiner, the grandmother of Rain Weiner, Aaron Abraham, the brother of Jesse Abraham, Sylvia Itkin, the mother of Judith Itkin, Sophie Krams, the mother of Mimi Jaffe, Alfred Lazarus, the father of Elizabeth Wanger, Jack Pivower, the father of Sharon Barrington, and Max Sherman, the father of Bela Organic. Oh, also, I missed one, Martin Mellinger, the father of Joseph Mellinger. We'll invite all those who are saying Kaddish to rise for the mourner's Kaddish. Page 451. Yikadal, Yikadash, Yamad, Yivak, Yutei, Yamad, Chaychon, Chayei, Chol Beit Yisrael, Agalah, Zman, Kariv, Vibor, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabban Mevorach, L'olam U'amei. Yiparach, Yishabach, Yipa'ar, Yitramam, Yitmaseh. Vitadar, Vitale, Vitalal, Shnei Kodishah, Yekor. Leila, Mikol, Birchata v'Shirata, Tushbechata v'Nechamata, V'Nechama La, V'Imu Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Mishai, V'Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael, Yamru Amen. Oseh Shalom V'Romal, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu Kol Yisrael, V'Kol Yoshvei Tevel, Yamru Amen.
Amen.
Pronam livracha, all of our memories for blessing at this time, especially for strength. I want to ask you to turn with me, if you have your Siddur, to page 126. Some English verses to prepare us for our closing Aleinu. And we can say these words together and then rise together for the traditional prayer. First, page 126. Please join with me and read with me. It is up to us to hallow creation, to respond to life with the fullness of our lives. It is up to us to meet the world, to embrace the whole, even as we wrestle with its parts. It is up to us to repair the world and to bind our lives to truth. Therefore, we bend the knee and shake off the stiffness that keeps us from the subtle graces of life and the supple gestures of love. With reverence and thanksgiving, we accept our destiny and set for ourselves the task of redemption. We'll rise together now. The words are on page 445. Aleinu leshabeach la'adon hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shenatan lanu torat emet, v'chaye olam nata betochenu, va'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטע שמיים ועושה הארץ, ומושב קרוב בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו, בגובה מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בהשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, והארץ ועל מקווה לך. כי המלכות שלך היא ולעולמי תמלוך בכבוד, ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. In harmony, please. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. We can be seated once again. With enormous thanks to all of the people who participated this morning, to our honorees, our readers, most especially to Beth Sperber-Ritchie for her beautiful chanting and leading, not just this morning, but also last night. And of course, Rabbi Sid, who continues to be such a wonderful source of wisdom and strength for us as we make our way forward. We want to turn for a moment of greeting to Scott Arnold, our board member. Scott, if you're able to unmute and check in. Great.
Hopefully you can hear me.
Yes.
Wonderful service today. Thank you, Rabbi Rachel, Rabbi Sid, and Beth. It was beautiful. And remember to hang out a little longer so we can speak to our Shlichim. This is a great opportunity to see them again. And remember to stay tuned to Social Solidarity to keep up with upcoming events for next Shabbat and Hanukkah coming up soon. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Scott. Few things to add to Scott's words. Thank you for mentioning Hanukkah. Please read Social Solidarity carefully. There is so much happening for Hanukkah, and you want to take an opportunity to tune in for each element. All ages are welcome for everything. I also want to mention, this is on my mind so much as we were chanting through Aleinu just now, which of course is the moment when we affirm the inspiration of our prayers to help us go out into the world and create the world that we dream about on Shabbat. We have a little opportunity to move in that direction coming up soon. We have been asked by the JCRC, the Jewish Community Relations Council, to partner with several other congregations in the area to help provide a pop-up food pantry for the staff at Holy Cross Hospital, many of whom we're learning are food insecure themselves. So please stay tuned as we learn more about opportunities to contribute food and to help with contactless delivery for these hometown heroes who are putting themselves on the front lines. And as Scott said, today is a day to tune in to hear more from our shlichim, to hear how they've been doing as they've been making their way in Eretz Yisrael. But first, we have some opportunity for visiting. So I'd like to say, let's say we'll go from 11:25 to 11:40. We'll have about 15 minutes to visit in breakout rooms. This is a chance to tune in to whatever wonderful faces land in your room with you. Breakthrough rooms, we're calling them. A chance to say hello, to make sure that each person gets a chance to speak. So somebody has to step forward as a facilitator. Could be you, never know. And invite each person to share whatever's going on in their lives. And we'll come back together by 11:40 to tune in to Orit and Karen, who will guide us in some conversation with our shlichim. So Shabbat Shalom, everyone. special, enormous thanks to our Gabayim this morning, Hannah Weisberger and Amy Jaslow. And let's see, I don't know whether Hannah or Amy, which one of you are going to put us in our breakout rooms, but we're ready for that as soon as you're ready.
Anna's doing it.
Okay.
Amy, is it working?
Yeah, people are going there if they want to.
Okay,
I
okay.
chose not to, just so you and I can
No,
talk.
no, I understand. It's my first time, so I just wanted to be sure that I'm
No,
just doing that.
they're all going. I'll watch them disappear, or if
Okay,
they
yeah.
decide not to, then they end up hanging out with
Yeah,
us.
yeah. I just wanted to be sure that it's that. You know what happened to me? I shut off Rachel because she's on the top.
I mean,
near me.
everyone's coming back.
Oh,
Yeah,
why?
we all ended up in one breakout room.
Oh, really? So what
We
did
all
they
ended
do?
up in the same room.
I'm going to
Oh,
ask
okay.
just because we're short on time. If you just make me the host, I can take care of it.
Yes, yes, yes. I will make you the host, Rachel. Sorry.
That's okay.
Where are you? Here, yes. Make a host.
Yes.
Okay, I made it the host.
Okay. Thanks.
So I will have to learn again how to do it.
Okay, so we have to wait a minute while this closes. Hang on, everyone. No, I'm having some trouble here.
Oh, so maybe it's not
I
me.
think you're having trouble, Rachel, because people are still being populated back into the main room.
Right. Now I've closed it, but we have to wait for it to close all the way. Thanks for your patience.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I was good, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
Hannah, it was the best breakout room ever. Everybody, no one wanted to leave.
They're all broken out.
Thank you for being so supportive.
It was the ultimate breakout room.
It was very inclusive.
I was afraid
It was
I will lose my Gabarut, Zoom Gabarut, so I'm glad you keep me.
I don't see it. Yeah, right there.
I know you did it on purpose, so we'd really have to interact.
Hannah, I think we need 10 rooms.
I guess I did something wrong. Carol will teach me again.
Okay, I'm going to try again. Here we go.
There's Matt again in the temple.
I know what I did wrong. I didn't choose number of rooms. I just, okay. Okay. No, I'm going to stay here.
I'm just looking to see which one I should join based on.
Actually, Rachel, before you join one, since you're the host now, when you have a chance, it might be when everyone comes back. Erez needs to be co-host, so he'll be able to do screen sharing later.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
I'm staying here. And Amy, I will, after, maybe not today, but I will practice with you how to do it correctly.
You just have to make sure that Dinah, did you want to be in a breakout room or not?
No, I'm staying with you.
No, I'm looking at Dinah.
Oh, okay.
I would. I didn't get sent to one.
Okay, if you go down to the bottom of your screen, you should see a thing that says breakout rooms, I hope.
Oh, okay.
And then just pick one and go into it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Thanks. I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Okay.
No, normally not. Things got messed up a little bit.
So what?
You're muted, Hannah. Okay.
So I didn't choose the number of rooms, I guess. I saw one room, so now I understand. Okay.
Yeah, it's basically depending on how many people there are.
Yes.
It's like you pick like 10 rooms, they'll tell you how many people will go in each room.
Yeah,
So
got
just
you.
increase
Okay.
the room number or decrease it so that we have about 8 people or so in each room, because not everyone goes to a room.
Yeah. Okay. I didn't pay attention to that. I thought it breaks immediately, and I forgot because I haven't done it. So
no
I'll
problem.
be better next time.
Okay, I am going to take a quick break because I have not
go
been out of
ahead.
my seat since this started.
Yeah, go ahead. Go. So who is in this room? Only me? No, there is also... עדנה, שלום, מה נשמע? unmute אותך. את muted. את צריכה unmute. את אימא של אורית.
כן, כמובן.
נכון, מה נשמע?
רוצה לאחל לכולכם, אוקיי, ביי מעולה. רוצה לאחל לכולכם שבת שלום כמובן, ממרחקים.
כן.
חג שמח, מלא אור, מלא תקווה, מלא באמת במצב רוח טוב, שירה וימי לטקס.
אנחנו צריכים בעיקר אור. בעיקר אור, נכון?
התחלתי עם האור.
את צודקת, אבל אנחנו כבר רואים את we see the light at the end of the tunnel, באמת.
אצלכם אל תהי בטוחה עדיין.
לא, את צודקת, אבל בכל זאת. ואני רואה שסנדי רובינשטיין הייתה, אבל היא כבר לא איתנו, שנה וואגר איתנו וג'ודי אקרמן איתנו, אבל הם אולי הם הלכו לשירותים, אני לא יודעת, גרי גם כן.
הלכו לקחת
אבל אתם בקנדה, נכון?
כן.
כן, אתם בקנדה. את יודעת, דבר אחד נהדר עם כל הזום הזה, שאנחנו יכולים להתראות מכל חלקי העולם, חוץ מאנטרקטיקה.
לא רק זה.
כן.
שנדמה לי, שעוד אף פעם לא ראינו את משפחתנו וחברינו כל כך הרבה זמן, כל כך פעמים תכופות.
כן.
יש יום שישי כל יום, כל שבוע כבר 8 חודשים.
כן.
לא קרה לי בחיים דבר כזה, עם הנכדים שלי והילדים שלי כולם ביחד. מתנה.
נכון, יש לזה, ובטח נמשיך את זה אחר כך גם כן, כי אין סיבה שלא. והזום בטח ישתפר מבחינת הקולות, ואם לא, גם זה טוב. תודה לאל שיש לנו זום.
מתנה, לא מבקשת יותר, מה שיש לי, אני ממש מודה לאל שיש לי.
אני מסכימה איתך 100%, 100%. זה מתנה נהדרת. תגידי לי, מאיפה אתם בארץ?
אני אורגינלית מתל אביב, בעלי הרצליה. אני תל אביבית, ממש תל אביבית.
ממש תל אביבית אמיתית?
בלב.
בלב? אני לא, אני גדלתי בחיפה, אחר כך עברתי לירושלים, בתל אביב עד היום אני לא, טוב, אני גם לא גרה בארץ, אבל אף פעם לא הכרתי תל אביב. הייתי באה באוטובוס או משהו, אין לי אפילו קונספציה טובה של תל אביב.
ההפסד הוא כולו שלך.
אני מסכימה איתך, ואם הייתי חוזרת לארץ, הייתי חוזרת רק לאזור תל אביב.
אבל היה לי חבר מאוד מאוד טוב בחיפה. איפה את גרת? ברחוב ארלוזורוב אולי?
לא, ארלוזורוב זה באדר.
כולם גרו בארלוזורוב.
בתקופה את צודקת, כשאני גדלתי, גרו בארלוזורוב, זה נכון, אבל אני קודם כל גרתי בהתחלה בדרך נווה שאנן, שזה היה בדרך נווה שאנן.
הייתה לי דודה בנווה שאנן, ברחוב טרומפלדור.
כן, רחוב מאוד ידוע, ואחר כך עברתי לכרמל צרפתי, גרתי על יד דן כרמל, ושם ההורים שלי גרו 45 שנה, עד שאבי נפטר.
אוקיי, יפה, וואו.
אבל אני עברתי לירושלים כשעברתי ללמוד באוניברסיטה.
אוקיי.
ב-67 או 68?
אז זהו, את ירושלים אני לא מכירה טוב.
היי, איילת.
שהייתה לי משפחה שם וחברים. אבל תל אביב,
תל אביב נהדרת, תשמעי,
אין כמו תל אביב, אין כמו תל אביב.
תל אביב זה ניו יורק ישראלית עם כל הדברים הטובים של ישראל. לא, אבל עוד יותר, לדעתי אפילו עוד יותר טובה.
עוד יותר.
כן, נכון.
Just a quick word, excuse me a sec. Hi, Ayelet, welcome, so glad to see you.
So sorry to take over.
That's okay, no, I just want to let folks know as they're joining, we're in breakout rooms right now, and everyone will be coming back in about 5 minutes, so.
Ayelet is there!
Yes,
התגעגעתי לקול שלך. I didn't want to interrupt your conversation about Tel Aviv. I have so many things to say.
Say, I didn't see you.
נו, בוא נשמע מה יש לך להגיד על תל אביב. היזהר.
במיוחד על רחוב ארלוזורוב.
כן?
נכון, הייתה לי חברה ברחוב ארלוזורוב.
מה שלומך בובלה?
לא רק הייתה לי חברה ברחוב ארלוזורוב, פינת דיזנגוף, ואברהם שלונסקי, בבניין בדיוק בפינה, על דיזנגוף בפינת ארלוזורוב. אם את יודעת מי זה שלונסקי, אני לא בטוחה.
בוודאי.
אז זה היה ביתו.
וואו.
אני גם יודעת בדיוק איפה זה. אני נמצאת בארלוזורוב הרבה.
איילת, מה את עושה עכשיו בחיים?
אז זהו, בגלל זה אמרנו רחוב ארלוזורוב, אני עובדת בפרויקט של הרכבת הקלה, ואנחנו בדיוק עובדים שם.
וואו.
אז בגלל זה אני יוצא להיות בארלוזורוב די הרבה.
מותק שלי, את יפה כמו שהיית עוד יותר.
די, תודה.
את מכירה את עמוס יודן?
וואי, למה זה מוכר לי יודן?
כי עמוס יודן הוא אחראי על כל הפרויקט הזה.
בוודאי, אני פגשתי אותו כמה פעמים.
הוא והבן שלו.
נכון, משפחת יודן, הם תמיד מצטרפים אלינו לסיורים, בטח, איך אתם מכירים?
אנחנו חברים מימים ימימה.
בטח, אני פגשתי אותו כמה פעמים. הוא תמיד מצטרף אלינו לכל הסיורים של הבחירים.
הם חבר'ה משהו, בעיקר.
יפה. איילת, you will have to be also a co-host. I'm sure, Amy, you will tell Rachel to make her a co-host.
So now we didn't start yet, right? We are waiting.
We'll be starting in about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
Eris and Idan are here. They're in some other rooms elsewhere at the moment.
So there are a couple of rooms. Okay.
And there's about 10 rooms.
You came to the main.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
okay.
Shalom. Cheryl, you can also unmute yourself. We are in the big room.
Hi, Hannah.
שלום, פולה. שלום, טוב לראות אותך. Cheryl Silver, you can unmute yourself too, so we can, yeah.
So until everybody will join us, I just want, so every Shabbat, now since the Corona times, you are meeting via Zoom, right?
Yes, we are meeting a lot.
Not going to the shul at all? We're not going to the shul?
No, not at all.
And have enough people there to make it even worthwhile.
Yeah, Ayelet, we are meeting more than Shabbat. We have daily minyan Mondays and Thursday. Rachel gives Parashat HaShavua on Wednesday. Somebody else, I forgot her name, Cheryl does on Saturday night. We meet a lot and we have beautiful, meaningful meetings. And then Friday night we have a short service, and then we have another group that is meeting. We actually meet a lot, and I will tell you that we have you just heard me, Amy. I told Sid and Rachel that they do avodah nehederet, not job. Job sounds terrible, but it's not only them. A lot of the people that also join. Bess does a lot of the services, and Jeff, and it's just really a very, very significant, beautiful, spiritual teaching, connecting, binding.
Enriching.
Yes.
And that's super, during those times, that's super important.
And very grounding, it's really, I salute to Adat Shalom gazillion time. I belong to another 3 synagogues. You know how people call me? Promiscuous member.
Hannah?
But Adat Shalom is the best, I must say.
For sure.
איילת, תגידי,
כן.
היית שליחה במונטריאל גם כן?
לא, הייתי שליחה רק בעדת שלום. בעדת
רק
שלום?
בעדת שלום?
רק פה. רגע, עדנה, אנחנו לא הכרנו, נכון?
אני, לדעתי, באיזה שנים היית שם?
הייתי לפני עידן, לפני השליח האחרון. הייתי בין
אז-
2016 ל-18.
כן, אז בטח. כי
מתי הגעת? מתי
עדנה
הצטרפת?
היא אימא של
אורית
אורית.
כבר חברה בבית הכנסת כבר למעלה מ10 שנים.
את אימא של אורית? אז אנחנו כן, אז אנחנו לא התראינו?
בטח יכול
כמובן
להיות
רגע,
שהאימא.
אנחנו התראינו.
My claim to fame זה שאני אימא של אורית, לא בזה ש...
רגע, where is אורית?
שמה.
אז תראי אותה אחר כך, זה ברגע טרום.
היא שמה, היא
Back
שמה.
איילת, אורית עבדה על זה שניפגש עם כל השליחים.
שליחים.
את יודעת ששר ילדה, אתמול נדמה לי.
באמת?
כן, אורית קיבלה תמונות של הבייבי אפילו, אני לא יודעת אם זה בן או בת.
זה בת שנולדה בערב שבת.
בת שנולדה בערב שבת, אוקיי, איזה...
היי איילת, מה שלומך?
אז איך יקראו לה שבתי? איך יקראו לה שבת?
That's a her.
אולי מנוחה.
טוב, אני לא ידעתי שהיא בהיריון.
גם אני לא.
טוב, אני
עדנה,
הולכת
אולי
לקחת
כולה
לעצמי
מנוחה.
כוס תה. אני תכף אשוב, אני הולכת לקחת כוס תה.
עדנה, אבל תחזרי.
כן, כמובן.
מה שלומך, חמודי?
למה את חושבת שקמתי כל כך מוקדם בבוקר?
איה, שלום. איפה פפאיה?
מה תביא טריה? תכף אני חוזרת.
היי איילת, מה
מה
העניינים?
העניינים? שלום.
בסדר.
מה קורה?
מתגעגעים.
איזה כיף לראות את כולם.
זה נפלא לראות אותם. Yeah, עידן.
Where's Eric? Dan, are you in Disney World?
There he is.
Can you get subtitles?
Where is Eris?
איפה ארץ? רייצ'ל, make איילת also co-host.
Yes, I will.
Oh, yeah.
Ayelet, I
I'm
remember
right
when,
here.
This Eris.
when we did our Israeli trip,
Yeah.
the summer of 16, we met you in Beersheba, I think it was.
נכון, that's right.
Find us.
Wow, it's been a while.
Yeah.
So is
Long
Karen
time
here?
ago.
Karen,
I'm here.
I think we should just scrap our format.
No, use your
No, no.
format.
No, I think we have to have a little bit
I'm
of
waiting for orders. I'm waiting for orders from Marie. Hi, Orit.
And Idan and Erez and Sahar. We're still hoping. I just loved coming back. I'll cry in a second, but to hear my Ima talking to Ayelet and someone else in Hebrew and waving and saying hello and a heart. So should I start? I mean,
Is everybody back? Is
everybody back?
The breakout rooms were closed now, so everybody who, yeah, I think we're good. And again,
Okay, so
thank you.
Okay, I'm muting myself now.
Okay.
Thank you, Orit and Karen, and what a total thrill to see Ayelet, Idan, and Erez. And we can just keep Sahar in our good wishes and give her a break this time.
Yeah. And so welcome back, everyone. I have a script here. I'll go to it in a second, but I'm just, this is my first time moderating on a Dat Shalom, and I came up with the idea of we missed our shlichim, and then all of a sudden, the Israel Connection Committee I'm on said, go ahead. I'm like, oh. So I'm gonna ask you all to take a breath and a stretch with me. I see some people are like squished together, like Pam and Fred and Peter and Chaya. That's great, and Michael and Chaya. So if you haven't stretched yet in the Sachs Landsman family, just let's stretch a second because I've just been all scrunched together on Zoom. And maybe let's just take a minute to scroll. Erez, Ayelet, Idan, I don't know if you had a chance to see who's on, who you remember, and who looks the same and who looks a little different. And there are some no longer with us, but there are new generations here with us. And that's one reason, as you heard, Sahar is not at the moment with us, but maybe she'll wave. She just had a baby, and I wanted to, Rabbi Fred, thank you for Ta-da! And she just had a baby girl a day or two ago, and there she is. I don't know where she gave birth, but her baby's name is Manor, in English, M-A-N-O-R, Manor. And she told me that it means, I think it's like a boom of a sailboat, the Toren. I don't know sailboats so well, but so there she is. And she said if she is awake and she has energy, she will join us. So, oh, a loom? I thought it was a boom, some part of a boat, but someone else can explain to me. So, okay. So Ilya and Sal had their baby just before Shabbat. So there we go. All right. So the official part, welcome everybody. I just wanted to say that Rachel mentioned earlier in the services that thank me for connecting us with the Shlichim. I think connecting and connections are in my DNA, thanks to my Ima, who's somewhere here, my mom, who creates these amazing international family reunions. And I joined the Israel Connection Committee. So I wanted to thank Karen Fierst and Bruce Kutnick for leading us and chairing us, and also my other committee colleagues, Tzion Chaflawi and Chaya Laufer, who's here. I don't know if Tzion's here, but Chaya's here. And we warmly welcome Ayelet and Erez and Idan, and hopefully Sahar from Israel and New York City. We will finish this formal part of the panel around 12:30, and then those of us who can still sit and stay together, we can ask other questions. If you do have any questions, please write them in the chat and Karen will try to follow them for later. I think you're all muted. And the other thing I wanted to just mention in my breakout room, we reflected on our sanctuary. And so we took a moment to connect to our sanctuary and how we're missing that space. So if you can for a second, imagine yourselves in that sanctuary, which is probably where we would be right now with everyone. Just bring those white sails or those white flowy ceiling and the shtetl cupola in the middle and the natural light around here with us. We can imagine being in that space all together for just a little while. So
It's a beautiful bubble. You beautiful bubble.
Okay. So I don't know if everybody saw, Ayelet is here. Can you wave so people can see you in one of the boxes? And,
hi, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
And say hello, Shabbat Shalom, Be'erev Tov, it's evening in Israel. Idan, you can wave or do something so we can see where you are. And Erez Digolan is in New York City, I believe, and he'll tell us a little more in a minute.
Hello, Shalom.
And there he is. Shalom, welcome back, our first Shaliach. So for those of you who weren't around, Erez Digolan was our first Shaliach from 2012 to 2014, I think, Nachon? And then came Sahar Malka, who got married recently, and is Sahar Malka Rabkin. And she was our shlicha from 2014 to 2016. And then Ayelet arrived from 2016 to 2018. And then Idan was our most recent, hopefully not last, shaliach from 2018 to 2020. So all of you three, you can look at each other and meet each other as well. So I'm going to ask, in order of your shlichut, I'm just going to ask you for a quick 3-minute update of what you've been doing since you left us. As you know, we miss you and appreciated you when you were with us. So we wanted to know just 3 minutes of family, education, work, where you're living, what are you doing? So we'll start with Erez, who's in America, in New York City. Go ahead, 3 minutes.
Hi, everyone. It's very good to be here. It was also quite awesome to log into the service and see how many people come. I said in the breakout room that I wasn't surprised, but I was, it's overwhelming to see in a good way. So yeah, since I left Adat Shalom, so what I did right after, and those of you I know it, I went and got my MA at Harvard Divinity School in Jewish Studies. Then I continued to Columbia University, where I am now. I'm currently in my 5th year of my PhD in ancient Judaism. And next time when I'll come and see you, I'll be a professor somewhere, I hope. I don't actually have a job yet, but I will, hopefully. And now for the interesting stuff. So hold on just a second. What I wanted to update you about, of course, oh, there we go. Yeah, so can everyone see this? Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, in August of 2019, we had our little son, Toby. You can see him here in early baby stages. This is him more recently. You can see him with his best friend, Wolfie, and the guitar, because he's very cool, and collecting these carob-like pods outdoors, which he really likes to do. And here's Toby cleaned up fancy. That's on the right side of the screen. I mean, you can see where he's being fancy. And on the other side, it's him at the daycare, which is fortunately open. They have a huge outdoor space, as you can see, and they can do it COVID style. So yeah, that's my definitely my biggest update, Toby. An all-consuming source of everything in my life. He's really the best. I mean, there just isn't such a kid in the world. Sorry for other parents. No, I'm kidding. He's the best, but everyone, all babies are. And yeah, unfortunately, he's napping. One part of me wants him to continue to nap at least until 12:30, but I also kind of hope he'll wake up too early and then you can see him. So yeah. That's my update.
Yofi. And Lindsay as well?
Well, I have a question. What kind of a job are you looking for?
Stan, I'm so sorry. As
what are you offering? Wait.
Oh, can you type that in the chat and then we'll network with him later. Ayelet, thank you, Erez. Ayelet, give us 3 minutes update. What are you up to?
So first of all, shalom לכולם, Shabbat shalom. I have to say that I'm very excited. I'm doing Zoom conference, like Zoom meetings every day, and I think that's the Zoom meeting that I just can't stop smiling since I mean the Zoom. I mean, I really missed all of you. Really miss all of you. So wow, it's been a while, 2 years since I came back from Adat Shalom to Israel. So my update is that today I live in Tel Aviv, in the center of Tel Aviv, near the Bima Theater. The first day I thought myself, okay, I'm going to move to Tel Aviv, parties, restaurants, theaters, culture. It's been a great year. And then now we are in Tel Aviv in the Corona time, which is a little bit different. It's still very fun, but it's different. But no, I love it. And what I'm doing today, I'm working as a project manager in a company called Community Relations, CR. And what we are doing community relations for infrastructures and transportations project. And my project is the light rail project in the metropolitan of Tel Aviv. I don't know if you heard, but now in Israel, in late of like 30 years, we are kind of making our own subway and we are building a light rail. And what I'm doing like I can say it's advertising, but it's not in a commercial way because we're doing a pure community, working, like I'm talking with the public, I'm letting know about all of our constructions and if the works are very not convenient for the public, so we are letting them know. We're doing all the explanation. We are telling with them what's going to happen. We're giving them solution. And what I'm doing, and also I'm organized all the visits for the work site. I'm doing tours, tour in the underground station. I'm going to show you. I can share photos, right? Okay.
Yeah, you have another minute or so.
Okay, good. I'm almost done. As you can see, so here I'm doing some tours in the underground. Here I'm taking a lot of groups and telling them about the project. Here, for example, it's for Facebook. I also was in the newspaper like 1 year ago. This is my back here in the cover of Yediot Achronot. Also, I'm doing organized tour for like VIP tours. I took the Minister of Transportation, Miri Regev, and the mayor, and we show them all how we're doing all our work sites. And this is it, basically. So far, I really love it, and that's my update for meanwhile.
Wow, Yofi, thank you.
כל הכבוד.
And
תודה.
And Idan, 3 minutes update since August, I guess.
Yes, it's been 4 months, so I don't have a child or a very cool job like Erez and Ayelet. I've been back straight to Corona, so it's not really the reality I came from, and it's been kind of stuck. I did get to start several new courses I'm doing right now. I'm currently I'm Corona unemployed. I'm doing 3 Hebrew sessions through Adat Shalom's Hebrew time at the evenings at like 11 at night. And I've just recently started doing a parliamentary assistant course where I'm learning to be an assistant to a member of the Israeli Knesset. So I'm not sure it will go. I'm just going because it fascinates me. I think next year I'm going to start my degree in Jewish philosophy and education. So it's been an eventful 4 months, but all of it has been like very short courses in seminaries. I've been back home, and that's it. It's very weird, very strange. There's no routine anymore, and I've only managed to see 2 of my friends since I came back 4 months ago because of Corona, and not to mention my entire family. So it is what it is, and we are thankful for what we have.
Welcome, Bruchim Habayim. I just checked again, Sahar is not with us yet, so we'll just go to the second part. Our committee came up with a few reflection questions, and I've asked each of you guys to pick one. So I'm going to start maybe with Erez, since we'll just go in the same order. And the question I think that you wanted to answer was something, do you miss anything? It was like a broad question, but did you want to answer that one?
Yeah, and like 5 minutes or less.
Unrelated, USA, well, you're in the US still, but do you miss anything?
No. Next. Like 5 minutes, right? You said about 5 or less?
5 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, so again, everyone, it was really interesting to hear Ayelet and Idan, and also Idan, I'd love to speak to you about Jewish studies if you're interested in the future. So, I mean, I'll start with the obvious in terms of what I miss. I miss my parents like hell. I mean, it's really, really hard. My parents were here several times since Toby was born, actually. So we were very fortunate. They were also here doing his birth and last time in February, which, you know, in retrospect, how did we not know in February what is coming? So yeah, I miss my parents greatly, and I think that we can all relate in our private lives, but also Adat Shalom as a community, of how fortunate we are that we have all these FaceTime, Zoom, etc. My parents get to see Toby every day, pretty much. And by the way, it's my parents and also my younger brother and other family members, but my parents are number one. So that's the first thing I miss in general in life. I also miss in terms of just what the COVID situation has brought upon. I mean, I miss so many things, but I was thinking about it this morning, that I kind of really miss caring about small, stupid things. You know how, like, pre-COVID, I don't know if somebody were to email, I don't know, in the department listserv, the school's department listserv, and refer to an event I spoke in or something like that, and like they didn't mention me, or I don't know, I don't have a concrete example, but something stupid, I would like go 4 days, I could, obsess over it and be preoccupied about it for a few days. So maybe that's like a negative example, which maybe I'm happy I don't have anymore, but I miss like passionately caring about small things. And now everything seems dwarfed by the COVID. It's like, I don't know, like my computer, the Z key, the Z key, I have to press harder than usual because I don't know, it's an old computer. But oh well, at least I have my health and rooms in my apartment, enough to work from home, and food, and you know what I mean. So that's like a general thing I thought about this morning. Another thing I miss in this era, which relates both to COVID but also to fatherhood, is time to prepare for things. So it's again like this morning, and of course by this morning I mean 11:05. When I was thinking about the panel, I was thinking about that. And just a few things about Adat Shalom that I dearly miss. And so above all, and it's really hard to articulate specifically, but on the other hand, we all know what I'm talking about. I miss the sense of community that Adat Shalom fosters, especially these times. I don't know, it's just this feeling that whatever you do, wherever you are, somebody cares about you, will stand there for you, will support you, and in whatever means necessary. And it's just, we do have a community here, but it's just, I don't know, Adat Shalom is like, if the community I have now is like a bandana cloth face covering, then Adat Shalom is like N95, I don't know, something like that. So I miss standing, I swear, this is sincere. I miss standing in traffic on the 495 and listening to American radio, which I really liked. I miss Fred Dobb, Rabbi Fred. I miss him in general, but I miss his emails. I like, the poetics of Fred emails. I don't know if how many people are familiar with it. I really miss it. Yeah, so 5 minutes, but these are the general
and
things.
Rabbi Fred is on with us, so he just heard that as well.
Awesome. So yeah, Fred, you should CC me on everything.
Did you hear that, Rabbi Fred? I don't know if he's, well, it's being recorded. I didn't say, but we're being recorded, so we can always hear later. But also, Karen, I'm just going to make a note for a second. If you can make sure that the chat is saved at the end, I'd like the shlichim to look at all the messages and comments in addition to the questions that hopefully we'll have time to ask at the end. So Erez, that's it for now. The missing, okay, Yofi. I also just thought, I didn't really think about it when I thought of getting you all together, of the connection that can happen between the three of you or four of you, or like Erez and Idan, make sure that you connect with studying and work. So
maybe I'll just briefly say that I remember, when was it? 2018 or something. One time I gave Ayelet I had a conference in Washington, DC. It's like the annual Jewish Studies Guild conference. And so I came to Adat Shalom, and I met not only Fred and others who were there, but also Ayelet, and I gave her a ride to DC. I don't remember why, but it's so sad because next week is the same conference takes place, but it takes place on Zoom. So anyway.
And just to say, you are all welcome to join our Shabbat services. I don't know how Fred, Rachel, Rena, Sid did it, but the Shabbat after we were all locked down at home in March. Somehow they got us Zooming together, and we've been 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pages of Zoom since then, depending on the day, on the Shabbat and the holiday. And it's been quite remarkable. So join us anytime you can. Ayelet, I don't know. I don't know what question. Did you have a chance to look at the reflection questions and choose your favorite for this morning?
So I chose the same question because it was the first question that actually I just popped the answer. So it was very easy for me to answer it because I think I have this answer in my mind all the time. So first of all, if I missed anything, first of all, I miss being out of Israel, and now I can't. And I get it, but now I used to, when I was in Shlichut, I used to travel all the time and go from state to state, and now we can go out. I mean, we can, but it's not the same, and it's not very safe. So we need to wait until things will getting better. Okay, so if I miss anything? First of all, I have to say that I really miss the feeling of being in a process of learning all the time. When I was in the Shlichut, I felt that every day I learned something new. And even today, I learn something new every day, but in the Shlichut, it's so different because I was surrounded by so many diverse aspects that each day I woke up and I learned something new about Judaism. I learned something new about the history of Israel because I needed to learn so I can, moving forward, all this knowledge. And I learned language. I mean, my English got improved, and culture and places. When I was in the Shlichut, this whole experience was also to see new places and to travel. And I think I traveled in places that without the Shlichut, I don't think I had the chance to go and being in those places. So it was very exciting, and I learned. I wasn't in a routine. I mean, my week just was different from all the week that I have. And every week was so different. I didn't know what's going to be on Sunday and Monday and Tuesday because it was so diverse. And I was also a shlicha at Moed, and this was also like I also woke up with like energy that I'm going to do something different. And don't get me wrong, I really love what I'm doing now, and I also learning many things. Believe me, I became like a civil engineer. All right, I'm like working in infrastructure world. I get to learn I'm told my parents I became an engineer, okay, without the degree. But I'm working from Sunday to Thursday from 9 to 6. Like I have a routine. I have my friends. I have the places that I work. I'm going. It's. I love it, but it's different. It's not the same excitement that I have when I was in the Shlichut, because in the Shlichut you're in a different place and you all the time need to recreate yourself, and you need to be creative all the time. And I also creative in my work, but you still have boundaries all the time because it's I don't want to say narrow, but it's not wide as much as you have in the Shlichut. And I work with so many ages, so many like different people. I met so many people. This is you all the community that Shalom, and also in Moed, and all the shlichim, and it was really, really different. And now I'm, in Hebrew we say now I'm working in avodah shel gedolim, which means like a work of like a grown-up people, 9 to 5, and it's cool. That's nice. I'm 30 years old. It's neat. This is life, but I think that there is nothing like the feeling of being in the shlichut and to be creative all the time, and to be each day it's experience. And to go to Shabbat dinner at different places, to go to like places in Virginia, like you really, I mean those 2 years, I don't think that I could get what I saw, what I learned in any other like places, organization, or work, anything. And I miss it a lot, really. And of course, you guys, all of you. That's the most important.
Thank you. Thank you, Idan. Thank you, Ayelet. Idan, you could probably answer, do you miss anything too? But we did prepare a few other reflection questions and you chose another one, which is fine. Maybe you can tell us later what you miss about us. But you chose a question about re-entering into Israeli society, both right during Corona, but also just after 2 years of being here in Chutz La'aretz, being in the diaspora, what it was like going back to Israel. So why don't you share about 5 minutes with us, and then we'll ask the other questions from everyone.
First, let's repeat the actual wording so people know. How did your stay in the U.S. in Adat Shalom affect your politics and worldview? And that was specifically my re-entry to Israeli society. So I'm repeating that because I'd like to introduce you to a phenomena or an effect. It is my favorite effect ever, and it is called the Baader-Meinhof effect. The Baader-Meinhof effect says that once you learn something about information, a phenomena, whatever, you will start seeing it everywhere. And that has been my experience coming back to Israel. It is everywhere. Adat Shalom is everywhere. US politics is everywhere. It's like the things I didn't notice that the people on the news say. It's in the TV commercials. Suddenly I'm understanding things I thought I understood before. And I'm like, that is what it meant. So the Baader-Meinhof effect is the most awesome effect because every time you notice it's a Baader-Meinhof effect, it is the Baader-Meinhof effect. You are noticing yourself noticing. So I've seen, like, first of all, coming back to 2 weeks of quarantine, I had time. I had time to get reacclimated to Israeli society. I noticed that Israeli tones are much, much louder than American tones. Like the night of the landing, I heard radio and the news anchors were yelling at each other. And I was like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Where are your manners? So it's now everywhere. Every time I look at news, I'm like, it's unacceptable. It's unprofessional, really. So it's in the small stuff, but it's also in the bigger stuff when we're watching the news, or we're talking about American politics, and then someone in my family says something, and I'm like, no, that's not true. Statistically, that's not true. I'm suddenly far more aware of my knowledge about US and American Jewry in general, and I'm able to correct people, and it makes me understand how deep it is. And I'm gonna take a little from Ayelet and Erez and say that today, first time I went out of my home to see my auntie, we drove and we saw trees whose foliage were red, and I was like screaming enthusiastically, it's like Adat Shalom, it's like Adat Shalom, it's like in America, look mama, look Gali. So it's really like it made me miss you all the more and get excited towards today. Aside from that, I have not seen that many outside people except for my family. We're staying at home. I am more aware of when news broadcasters are bullshitting me about the US and giving me, like, saying stuff that just nobody would agree with, like not even Republican, just stuff that are wrong. So it makes me reevaluate how much Israelis know about the US and American Jewry in general. And seeing that in some ways, I know more about it than they did because I lived. In some ways, only for now. How much time do I have left, Orit?
Another minute or two, and then maybe Karen will start asking the questions from our kahal and your friends to the three of you.
Excellent.
Take another minute.
And to the first part of the question, my politics has not changed. I've been the same, how Israeli said, traitorous lefty that I was. That's it. I really hope that we'll continue to more left-leaning ways, but Israel doesn't. Never mind. That's current politics. Later.
Okay, I haven't. Thank you. Toda l'shloshtechem. I've been peeking to just see if Sahar popped in, but I haven't seen her. At least, Sahar, are you here? Maybe under another name. I didn't think about that. Sahar, are you with us?
No. I have not let anybody in that remotely.
Okay, so Amy, you'll let me know. Okay, great. So Karen, do you have a question or two that you've gathered from the chat, from our kahal and our friends?
Sure.
We can ask.
First of all, I want to welcome Ayelet, Erez, and Idan. Ayelet, it was really fun to spend time with you in Israel. We'll do it again.
Sure.
And Erez, Mazal Tov to you, and Lindsay, good to see you, and of course Idan, but we've seen you more frequently. It is great to hear your reflections of what you miss, both from your time of Shlichut and Adat Shalom specifically. I believe that people are pretty interested about your perspective of Israel. One of the questions, the first question was what Stan asked, and I'm going to combine that into another question. His specific question was, can you comment on your view of the effect of Biden's election on Israel? In other words, what do you see Biden's election having influenced in Israel? And for you personally, how did your stay in the US affect your worldview and politics? Actually, Idan, I think you probably addressed that partially. But let's start with Ayelet. So Biden's election, and did your stay in the US affect your political view of what's going on in Israel?
Well, I have to say that in my case, I don't think that it changed a lot. I think that I came to Adat Shalom with a lot of questions and without like very main opinion. And I mean, I came here, I think that I was very clear when I did the sessions with you that I told you all the time, and I asked questions, and that I was search all the time in manners of what in matters of the politics in Israel, because as much as you know, it's very, very complicated. I think that my stay in Adat Shalom only like gave me more knowledge about this, because I did the research during this time that I was here. And I don't think that it changed a lot. I think I kind of stay with the same opinion that I had. I think that even though until today, I'm not sure about my opinions, because it's, like I said, very, very complicated. But I think that now, especially during the COVID time, that our government, the way that she's functioned is, I would be very well, not so good as far as I can say, but we keep it between us. I will try to be polite and say that it's not the way that I would like it to be functioned. I think that my stay in Adat Shalom just gave me the tools to ask more questions, to look at things, and to actually to be more like I say, to ask the question and to understand in much deeper deepest ways, because before, I study political and government in university, and even though after my degree I still have more questions and I wanted to research it, I think in Agat Shalom I got more tools to actually get my opinion and to look at the things.
Hello, Lindsay, who just walked in.
She went to bring Toby, or he woke up. I mean, they're gonna, do wake up stuff, and then he'll come say hi.
Okay, great. So Erez, why don't you, again, you come from a different perspective because you've spent now a number of years in the US. You have your family and friends in Israel. You didn't mention, but I assume you visited Israel since you've been in the States. So from your perspective, do you think that there has been any impact in Israeli politics on the election of Biden? And also in general, has your opinion of politics in Israel been, changed since you've been living in the US? Big questions.
Yeah, these are big questions, and like it's sort of I'm as we're having this discussion, I'm thinking of how, as a shaliach, I would confidently give an answer. Whether however I think about the issue, I would speak from almost a place of authority about it. I'm not sure about all. I mean, I'm going to think out loud about some of these questions. I'll start. So I think Biden. What I hope, and it's only optimism, I don't really know what will it bring about, but I think Biden has the potential to stop the populist wave. I mean, this is not a novel idea, right? I'm sure you spoke about it, read about it just like me, but my hope is that it will stop the populist wave that has been washing the world, including Israel. I mean, Netanyahu, whatever you think about it, what's quite amazing about Netanyahu is his versatility in terms of how he runs politics. I mean, Netanyahu was a Biden-like figure 10 years ago in the sense of, Biden is a bit older, he's been through a lot and all that, but Biden is a little bit what we as Israelis would used to think about the classic American politician, very, very presentable, very, a white, silver-haired man who's very polite, but also don't mess with me type of person. That's what Netanyahu used to be. With Trump, Netanyahu became Trump. It's like, shalom. Hold on. Somebody important came here. בוא, טובי. תביא את וולפי. כן, אני רואה את וולפי. בוא.
Welcome.
איך עושים שלום?
Wow.
שלום.
Shalom, Toby.
איך אומרים שלום? רגע.
Adorable.
So, what I was saying is that I think that Biden. Show them Wolfie? Show them Wolfie. הנה וולפי הקטן.
זה מתוק.
Sorry, I'm
ארז
sorry.
הוא מתוק ברמות. He's so sweet.
Okay. Yeah, so that took up some time, and I'm sure it'll come again, and I'm sure it's more interesting. But my point is that I hope that, I don't know if Netanyahu is going to stay in. I don't know if Netanyahu is going to. Sorry, I don't know if you heard me now. I was saying that I don't know if Netanyahu is going to survive politically everything that is going on now, but I already predicted him going away a few times. So obviously I don't know what I cannot predict. But let's say if Netanyahu does stay in power, at least for a while, it'll be interesting to see if Biden pushes Netanyahu to pivot back into like a more civil, decent politics. So I hope I answered that. We had some distractions here, but I know.
No problem. Lovely distractions. And I appreciate what you said about your sense of authority and knowledge when you were speaking as a shaliach. But that's okay, because we were asking you for your personal opinion. So that's great. Idan, do you want to address any of that? I mean, some of it you did, but not specifically the Biden question.
And you have about 3 minutes. We want to end around 12:30-ish. So maybe we'll get one more question in, and then those who want to stay longer can stay longer after.
Karen, the internet was jamming, but I thought were you talking to me?
Yes. So I was asking you.
Okay, about the Biden question, right?
Yes.
So I saw two things. I saw the part that was, the people who said Trump is our greatest supporter and he's done amazing things and we don't care what's going on in America because to Israel, he's awesome. And then there were the parts that were saying, this is crazy. Let's put someone who we would let manage, I don't know, a high school, like, I don't know, someone with certificates. So the Biden part was, again, the people who are more aware of the general morality issue of the question of who's the leader. And the other part of the supporters were the ones who were saying, we don't care as long as he's good for us. That's what I saw from my viewpoint. I would say that if I'd compare it to the previous elections, it was like the media coverage was basically the 4 or 5 days of the elections. Before that, very few coverages because of COVID. And after that, also few. Like there were talks about how people are saying that the election was rigged. And before that, they were talking about how Trump was saying that they are going to be rigged and stuff like that. But all in all, if I compare it with a normal election year, it did not get as much coverage because of COVID. People were like dealing with, yes, Trump is good for Israel, but let's talk about what's going on with Corona. We need to handle the situation. Which, and if I'll insert about a little bit Israeli politics, the frontliners have been excelling in every possible way, and our leadership has been failing in every possible way, in my opinion.
Thank you. Okay, one quick question before I think we have to end the formal part of the program, but we do have a few other questions. So Steve Brody wanted to know whether or not your religious observance has changed as a result of your exposure to American Reconstructionism. Erez.
Yes, I mean, absolutely. I still consider myself secular in the Israeli sense of the word, but yeah, I don't know if it's like publicly shaming Toby or putting him on the spot, but like, so Toby's Brit, right, was conducted by a Reconstructionist rabbi, Emily Cohen. She used to be a rabbi, or not a rabbi, but a rabbi in training at the JRF camp, which is where I met her. She's really great. Now she's a rabbi here in New York. And, you know, if I had not spent time in Nadat Shalom, I wouldn't even know what the Reconstructionist is. So obviously having a Reconstructionist rabbi, and we reached out to her because both Lindsay and I knew her, and because we knew that she will be open to running the ceremony in a creative way, the way that we wanted to. Yeah, so that's sort of like an anecdote. More broadly, I mean, yeah, I think in Israel it's more binary, even still today, as much as I know. It's more binary in the sense of like religious, not religious, with maybe traditional or Masorati somewhere in the middle. But here in America, it's different. You can manifest your identity differently, and I think Nadat Shalom is a wonderful example, and which we still draw inspiration from. I hope that's.
Yeah,
I
fine.
didn't answer too concretely, but yeah.
No, Ayelet.
Can you please repeat the question again?
Sure. The question is, has your religious observance changed as a result of your exposure to American Reconstructionism?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that my view changed when I first came to the first Shabbat. And I don't know if you remember, but Rabbi Frey called me and asked me to take the Torah, and I walk in the service, and everybody, me, Ayelet, as a woman, I took the Sefer Torah, like the Torah. It was totally shocked for me. And since that Shabbat, I understood that what I knew about the Jewish religion, about the whole, what I knew before, it's going to be totally different. And I think that since I exposed to the Reconstructionism, I exposed to a new values that I didn't know. It's not that I didn't know, but that I didn't see that actually in the Orthodox Judaism, what I knew here in Israel, I as equal, when in the gender equally, that I didn't see here in Israel as much as and a lot of things that the open and especially the open-minded in the Judaism, because as you know, when you walk by the halacha and you walk by the rules, and things can change, and which is okay. I'm not judging. I mean, this is okay. This is one way, and this is what I knew as a secular, and I felt that I didn't have enough knowledge about all of this. And when I actually had this, like, when exposed to the Reconstructionism, I actually I saw a different way to experience Judaism. So absolutely, and I have to say, when people here in Israel, when I'm meeting new friends and meeting new people, and I'm telling them what I did, and I was in a I told them I was working at a congregation, and I was like, what, synagogue congregation? But you're secular. What is? And I'm telling them our Reconstructionist congregation, and I'm telling you, no one knew about this here in Israel. I was the first person who actually told them about this, and that's very interesting. People are really want to know about this. And they ask me all the time, what does that mean? What is the difference between reform and everyone? And I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it to tell them about this and to show them a different point of view, like I said, of the Judaism. And that's pretty great. So yes. So
thank you.
The answer is yes.
Okay, Idan, 2 minutes.
Wait, 1 second. I've been in touch with Idan. I am conscious, over-conscious of time. And so Idan said that he would stay longer. I don't know if Ayelet and Erez and Toby can stay a little longer with us after, but I would like to turn it over to Rachel. I don't know if Rachel's doing Kiddush and Hamotzi, but I wanted to thank officially all three of you for coming at different times and hours of your day to be with us, and for all of us, Radat Shalom, for staying. Please stay safe and be well, and have a very healthy and lightful Hanukkah as well. And look out for future programs that we will sponsor, the Israel Connection Committee. Thanks, Karen, for co-moderating with me today. And we'll send our love to Sahar. And let me just check in again with Rabbi Chazan Rachel.
Please make a point of looking at the chat room, because rather than questions, most of the people were thanking you for all that you brought
and missing you
to
very
the
much.
Shalom community. And I want to thank Orit and thank you as well. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. So we can stay on after Kiddush and Hamotzi. Rachel, did you want to do that?
Yeah. I want to also add my thanks, and what a thrill, really total Shabbat thrill to see all three of you with us. We will be able to send you the chat, because you're going to want to take a minute and read through all the little messages of love that are being transmitted through the airwaves towards you. So kiddush and motzi, and as Karen and Orit have said, there's time to chat further for those that would like. And for others to just say again, Toda Rabba Rabba, as Ayelet taught me to say. And Shabbat Shalom. Okay, so join me, please. V'shameru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. על כן ברך אדוני את יום השבת, ויקדשהו סברי חברי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. Chala. Let's hold this up. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. B'tei avon lekulam, toda rabba rabba, and see you all soon.
Shabbat
Shalom.
Kol tuv lachem.
Shalom.
So, Ori, go ahead, Ori.
No, I was just going to sing Ma Yafe Hayom, Shabbat Shalom, Ma Yafe Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. And Shavua Tov to you in Israel. But we will stay on till about 1 if there are questions. Erez, can you stay with us with Toby, or if you need to leave, go ahead. Toby,
We're here.
Toby want to say something or share something with us? Does he have a song that he learned?
Toby, you want to show them?
Daycare?
You want to show them the song?
Do you want to sing a song for us? All of Abba's friends?
The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round. No?
And please give a hug to Lindsay from all of us.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, a shout out from Lindsay. She was very much part of the community on the Shlichut too. So.
Yes.
Okay. Wait, she's coming to say hi.
Oh, good. Hi. Hi. Mazel tov. Good to see you.
You too.
Lindsay's the real Zoomer in this family because of her work. So she's all on Zoom all the time.
What is she doing now?
She works in development. She's a fundraiser for an organization based in Boston called Wide Horizon for Children. And she used to be in charge of donors from New York. She is still, but you know, it used to involve a lot of in-person meetings. But she's in charge of donors in the New York greater area. And also she runs the organization's big events every year, which also in 2020, didn't really happen.
Yofi. So I don't know. I don't want to put anyone on the spot. I just saw Sarah sitting on the couch next to Minna and Fred. I don't know, Sarah, if you have something that you wanted to say from your perspective or your that you wanted to share.
I just wanted to say hello. I miss everybody, and it's nice to see everybody's faces, but I don't have any questions.
That's okay. It's nice to see you. I don't know if there's anyone else from another generation. Landsman Sachs, I see you're still here with us. Did you have anything you wanted to ask or say to our shlichim, something you miss or something you still do that you learned from them, maybe? I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot.
Shalom.
Yeah, shalom.
Yo. She's embarrassed now.
Hello for the longest time, Ayelet, and now, of course, she's embarrassed. But both girls and Noach, the Hebrew has improved so much.
Wow.
She looks
You know,
wow, great seeing you.
Say hi.
So I was just thinking, girls, ladies and gentlemen, maybe Erez and Idan and Ayelet, if you feel comfortable putting in your email in our chat. So people want to get in touch with you professionally or personally or socially on Zoom, they can do that too. As moderator, initial moderator, I see my Ima raising her hand. So I'm going to ask Ima, and then Karen, if you have another question or if anyone has a question, please raise your hand as my Ima just did. Okay, Edna.
Emma, thank you. And באמת תודה וטוב לראותך במקום שאת נמצאת בו וטוב לך בו. ממש טוב לי עם זה. But I wrote in the chat to congratulate and thank Idan for all he did, so I will not repeat it. But now that I have an opportunity to really celebrate Shabbat with all of you, it does me a lot of good. And I must say that I miss those beautiful Shabbats that I shared with all of you. It was very meaningful, both to Danny and myself. We felt so much at home, never got up lately to say that we are guests in the Inshul. It was really part of our life when we were visiting Orit and Chagai and Mishpochet. But I'd like to take this opportunity to wish you, of course, Shabbat Shalom and Shavua Tov. But with the coming Chag, it's a special Chag.
You give it back.
Together, we will be Zooming and maybe more Zooming and seeing way more people to celebrate the Chag with, you know, from the distance, from south of Africa to Russia, to Tel Aviv and the area, and God, East, West, US and Canada. This will be a very special Chag. So I'd like to wish all of you to come filled with light, bright light, that it will zoom. This is it. It will zoom like Zoom Gali Gali, really around the world. I was going to say it in French because it's like very embracing. May you have a very wonderful, lightful. We are lucky that we have 8 days to celebrate. May it be a yummy and sweet one too. And that light should carry you till the end of this horrifically difficult time. Be safe and healthy, very cautious and vigilant, not to take anything for granted, just cautious. But out. From my heart, from Danny's too, from all of you. The best to all of you. It was a gift to be here with you, an absolute gift. Really made my Shabbat. Really, please take it. Just hear me.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Okay.
Shabbat Shalom v'todah. There was another question. There were a couple of questions. Idan, we did not get to hear from you as to whether or not Reconstructionism, your exposure to it in the U.S., has changed your perspective on observance
here
in Israel.
Okay, here.
First of all, I'm really going to echo what they said at my departure interview with you all. I really got to learn a lot more about prayers and spirituality from the emotional place, and I took it back with me. On Shabbat dinner, when we sit and bless the challah, then I sing to everyone, Motzi lechem min haaretz, and everyone is just absolutely hooked at the melody. I am feeling the lack of the spiritual community. Meaning, like Adat Shalom was such a big part of my life for those 2 years, and I so loved the melody and stuff. Now on a Friday morning when I go out running, then I put Rabbi Rachel on Shabbat Vainafash, the musical Shabbatot, all of the recordings I made of her, and I just, while I'm running, I'm like, Ma tovu ma'asecha. So I found ways to incorporate it in my life. What?
No, you're okay. Go on.
So
everyone can mute themselves still. Thank you.
So I found ways to to take that into my life, but I'm still looking for what we would call a community of meaning to celebrate life with. So if you have any recommendation on a Zoom community as of now, I would love to hear that.
Keep zooming into Adat Shalom. We have activities every day, every hour of the day. I'm sure you can find something.
That's what concerns me. Like 9 p.m. is not a good time in Israel.
No,
It's
I know,
not.
I know. Okay, there was another question as to how your use, wait a minute, how your use of the English language while you were here on Shlichut has possibly affected your ability to do your work or what it is you're planning to do or your studies. So Ayelet, let's start with you. By the way, very big job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Well, I have to say that for me, I have to say that I feel that I haven't spoken English for a while because in my daily work I don't use my English, so you can probably can feel it. So it's really nice to speak English again. I have to say that in the beginning when I went to interview for a job, that was very helped me. That really helped me because I when I said I used to live in the US for 2 years, so people like immediately telling me, "Oh, your English is probably great." And I'm saying, yeah, of course, even though that I forgot some things. I think that even now I kind of miss one of the questions, but never mind. I have to say that, you know, in Israel, I'm thinking all around the world, the English is really important. For me, it's huge benefit that I'm telling, you know, like I said, I'm telling to people that I used to live in the States, and of course that it's improved my English. Like I said, in my daily work, it's not very, I don't use it now, but I have no doubt that in the future, and of course, like absolutely, I'm gonna use it and it's gonna help me. And in Israel, and like I said, in all around the world, this is really important. And I think that this is amazing tool that we received in the Shlichut. And we're gonna use it for sure.
Erez, how about you?
Well,
No, I mean, I think because Lindsay, because of Lindsay, English for me was and is very important. I think the Adat Shalom time absolutely helped me. I mean, it was the first time I've ever, you know, conducted my life in English, and I think that like it's funny for me because I'm here now and because I study ancient Jewish texts, then it's like the opposite. It's my for me the Hebrew now is a huge advantage, and most of the people I interact with they have some kind of Hebrew, so it's yeah, I guess, but I feel quite comfortable in both languages. In all, I can't say in the same level, but it's getting fairly close. Sometimes it's scary how close it gets. You know, sometimes there's things. Ironically, if you want me to now speak about the ancient Jewish history and whatever, it's more comfortable in English because some of the terminology and I don't know, like whatever. There are a bunch of examples, but it's like so. Ironically, some things are more comfortable in English. Toby's gonna have a little meal.
Idan.
Coming back to Israel, I was basically my Hebrew was dragging behind, and I found myself whenever I would lose my track of mind, just automatically switching to English and forgetting words in Hebrew, and then telling my mom, "Well, how do you say teapot, Mom? Ima, איך אומרים teapot? How do you, Elohim?" Really. So it's much better now. I've grown more accustomed to Hebrew again. but it's still there. There are still some words that I sometimes forget, and then I find myself just muttering to myself in English, like, what was I saying? Oh my God. And then people are looking at me like, why are you using American accent? What are you doing? What are you trying to play the game? So no, I'm sorry. It will be natural to me. I'm sorry. So
Okay, great. Chaya, who is also a member of the Israel Connection Committee, has a question she'd like to ask you all directly, or a comment that she'd like to make. Chaya, it's all you.
Hi, guys. It's not a question, but a comment. I just want to tell you that as an older Israeli, the three of you, Erez, Ayelet, Veidan, really give me hope. I'm so proud of you, and I think that your generation, perhaps, and hopefully more than perhaps, but your generation that shows so much courage and moral behavior can really perhaps change the face of Israel. So thank you so much, guys. And remember, I'll be watching for you.
And watching over you.
Thank you, Chaya. I think everybody here would probably agree with you. Thank you for articulating that.
There were a
Orit.
few thumbs up.
Oh, I think that Malka had her hand up at one point to ask a question.
Okay, we have.
Yeah, it was Bruce's question. Here he is.
Okay, two things. I want to thank the three of you, but also you brought different aspects of Israel to our community. And that was wonderful because that's your personalities and that's what you were able to bring to us. So it was a very broad view of what Israel society is. And thank you. It wasn't as if you just came from the kibbutz or so on. It was much broader than that. But I have a question. What do you think of the anti-Netanyahu protests that are occurring in Israel? Have you participated in any of them? Has your view of them changed because you had been in America on shlichut?
I would like to answer this because the protest is right here near my house.
Okay.
Every Saturday night. Well, I think that Israel is a democracy. And I think it's great, no matter if it's against Netanyahu or anybody else. The fact that people in Israel can go to the street, can go on the street and just tell what they think. And I think this whole protest is good and is important. It's important, and not because it's on Netanyahu. It's because that people had the right to go and protest and just say out loud what they are thinking. And even to say that if something wrong, to go and to protest about this. And yes, I had the opportunity to go. Like I said, it's right here nearby my house. And yes, I'm going sometimes, and my friends are going. And also, what was Bruce? You asked another thing. What was the last thing you asked? You asked what are we thinking about the protest and
whether your views of these protests have changed because you were on shlichut in America.
I need to think about. I think that I think I want to say yes, but I don't have like specific, like example. But I'm sure that somehow, yeah, absolutely.
Idan.
He hasn't gone anywhere.
I'm going to start with Bruce's last question, and it's a no. My view hasn't changed because of Adat Shalom. I'm going to say that Israelis have had a very long period of of coming to terms with the things that Netanyahu has been accused of or has been a part of. And this is, I'm saying finally, it's taking a long, long time to understand that the thing he's been doing are not democratic. He's been using sedition against huge parts of the publics for years now. He's been using his position to gain a lot of money for himself and for his family. And it has been enough by myself, because I went back to live with my mama. She's how do you say, in high risk population? How do you say it? Like
Yes.
COVID risk population. Then I have been extremely torn. I wanted to go from the night I landed, but I did not attend in person. I've not gone anywhere, especially after my grandmother's death of COVID. So I have not been there, but I've fully been there in spirit and also on Facebook Live, which you can also view from. I'll share the link.
Erez.
Oh.
Yeah, I just want to first say, I mean, as Bruce said, like we all brought different perspectives and it was really fun. I had a chance to meet Ayelet before, but not hear so much of her. And it was really cool to hear Ayelet and Idan. And I also want to spotlight Fred. Fred is the first to say that he didn't do it alone and it takes a village and a community. But I think that when Anton Goodman, I don't know if whoever remembers, when Anton came up with this crazy idea of having a shlichim in synagogues, he needed to have a collaborator who's as crazy as he is in terms of like big vision and like starting from scratch and actualizing a plan. So I just want to highlight Fred because Fred is really that kind of a person who's like a dreamer to the edge sometimes, but also to the fact that like he brings about such amazing thing. Yeah, about the protests, I don't know. I have to be honest. Maybe I'm getting older, or maybe it's because of Toby, or maybe it's because I miss my parents and I can't wait for COVID to end. I think it's really important the demonstrations. I totally get and buy into what's behind the demonstrations, and I also totally get the momentum that people are tapping into. I also, it's hard for me to see people congregate in such ways, whether it's in Israel or here. And the reasons for the protests here were also, you know, one cannot dispute why people were angry and wanted to take it out to the street. Okay? But yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I just wanted to add this. Idan also spoke to that, but I think, yeah, honestly, I don't think that the demonstrations will end Bibi's regime. I think it's going to be something else. It doesn't. I'm not minimizing the importance of that, but yeah. But for me, I see it, and then I see the lockdowns, the COVID spread. I know it's not that, you know, it's not like an indoor wedding, but it's definitely, you know, just very hard in this time to know what. So yeah, I guess that's my ambivalence about it. And the shlichut informs everything I do in my life. So I don't know if I can exactly tell you how it made me think about the demonstrations.
Okay, thank you. So, and thank you, Bruce, who is also a member of the committee. Orit, there's one more question before you have closing remarks.
Okay.
Do I have time to ask it?
We have 3 minutes. I'm going to try to, I'd like to stay on time. I mean, if anyone needs to leave and go, then please do, but go ahead if there was a question.
Okay, so Ralph and Camilla asked, what did you think of back then? In other words, before you started your shlichut, when you took on your role and coming to Adat Shalom? I guess the question might be worded as, was your shlichut what you expected it to be? Erez, you were the first.
Yeah.
You were the
no.
you were the pioneer for all of us.
Right.
Odman? Yeah, I did not know exactly what to expect. I don't even know how to start. It was all like new, almost entrepreneurial, like, you know, let's start this new shlichut. I went to the seminar of the Jewish Agency, and it was really focused on advocacy, what's called hasbara. And then I met with Fred. I wish I remember the exact details, but we met like at a festival beer event. We had beer on like
שירה בציבור, שירה בירה, במודיעין.
In Modi'in, Lindsay remembered that it was Modi'in. I don't. yeah, and it was like I had a wait. Let me mute Toby. No, I can't. Yeah, so I remember like I was gonna meet a rabbi, and like on Skype, you know, Fred is bearded, so he's still very. He does even when I spoke to him on Skype and I got to know the personality, he still fit the stereotype of rabbi. Then we met, we sat on the grass and had beer. But that is not answering directly the question. I think what I expected is I don't know. I think the only thing I could concretely imagine is teaching in the Torah school, because that was similar to the summer camp experience, which is my first shlichut. Right after the army, I went to a summer camp, and I had no idea what to expect to, and it exceeded all my expectations and surprised me. I mean, I don't know, the retreat, the services, speaking, like, you know, giving a drasha, none of it I expected before. So, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, Ayelet?
Well, my answer is just no. I mean that I didn't know what to expect, and it wasn't what I was expected to. I just like Erez said. I mean, I think that I was sure, like, okay, I'm going to do like the Torah school and to teach about Israel, and I knew it was very narrow. I mean, even, I mean, we had the conference in Israel from the Jewish Agency, and they told us about what we're going to do, but I don't think that I actually knew what is going to be actually like in the daily routine and what I'm going to do. I remember that I imagined myself like, you know, I'm going to work with the community and I'm going to teach about Israel and I'm going to do a lot of sessions and to be in the Torah school and to do, I don't know, events. But I think that just when I started this and things get, you know, and I start to do things, then I just start to realize, but it wasn't what I mean, yes and no, because like theoretically, yes, but formal, no, because we did so many things. I think I probably, Idan and Erez could also say that we did so many things. So it was hard to actually imagine and to understand what we're going to do because it was so wide. So it was really big, so good surprise. Yeah.
Idan.
As Ayelet and Erez said, it was a yes, it was what we thought, but it was like, it was that 1%, but there were like 99% more that were incredible that I had no idea were gonna happen. And it was mind-blowing in every possible way. I believe if Sarah was here, she would say the same thing. It's just, it's incredible and it's mind-blowing. Like I knew I was gonna teach at the Adat Shalom Torah School, but I had no concept of what the Torah school was. I couldn't imagine the Torah school. I couldn't imagine the pairs. I couldn't imagine the sanctuary. Like it was so much more than I could have ever hoped for.
Okay, great. Before I give it back to Orit, I just want to also thank Amy and Hannah, who have been our gabayot, who took care of all the technical aspects, and it went very smoothly. Thank you, Orit.
Yeah,
and thank you, Shlichim.
And of course, thank you, Shlichim, and to everybody who stayed on. Shabbat Shalom. Just a quick pop question. I think it came up just now for me because I'm hungry. So I just wondered, Erez, Idan, Ayelet, one food, one dish from Oneg that you miss.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
That's
the egg salad.
Great. Just I think maybe the white lasagna.
Okay. Erez, Idan, it's not a trick question. It's just
Lindsay said the mac and cheese, but you know that like it's like a white big container of like some kind of a fish.
White fish.
Bread.
White fish salad. Yes.
Lindsay doesn't eat fish.
whitefish.
Lindsay doesn't eat fish, and I don't. So I don't, because like we don't eat it at home. So I don't know. I liked it. I know it's like but
Costco. Yeah, you could go. Idan, do you remember one Favorite dish?
I don't think you'll believe me, but there was one bagel that had cinnamon and raisins in it. And I would like all throughout the week, all of the oneg leftovers, I would eat it with like 8 of those with hummus, 8 a day, I swear. It was amazing.
So on that note, I thank you. I'm getting hungrier as I remember to. Everybody, b'tavon, go have a good lunch or brunch. Shabbat shalom. Thank you for joining us.
Shabbat shalom.
Erez.
Shabbat shalom.
To everyone.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you all.
Shabbat
Thank you. This was
shalom.
wonderful.
You can
Thank you. You were all wonderful.
Say quick goodbyes. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Toda.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Yay. Thank you. So great to see you. Thank you, Arit.
My pleasure. Shabbat
Thank
shalom,
you,
everyone.
Israel.
Thanks,
Huge
Amy. Thanks,
success.
Hannah.
It was just wonderful.
Actually,
Thank
stay
you.
Just
You did something.
Thanks, everyone. Shabbat shalom. Thanks, Imalet, for being with us.
Thank you.
Bye,
Ray.
everybody. Yeah, thanks, Bruce.
Do your final Shabbat shaloms, because when I leave, the session ends.
Thank you. Thank you. It's hard to say goodbye.
It's going to be goodbye because I'm ending the show. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Shabbat shalom. Thanks.